Hey everybody, welcome to our top 10 games of the year. I'm Andrew.
I'm Alex.
I'm Max.
And I'm Adam.
Woo! Hey. Alright guys, so you guys got your list prepared? You want me to kick things off?
Yeah, how are you thinking, Andrew? Why don't you just give us a bit of a rundown of the format you're thinking here?
So, personally, this is going to be a pretty open list. I say that personally, I meant for you guys to pretty much do whatever you want. We got 10 games here. The only one that really matters is your number one. Everything else, unranked, ranked, loosely rank them if you want. It's all just subjective BS anyways. All of my games, I'm pretty sure, did come out in 2022, but if you didn't play many good games that came out in 2022, feel free to just include any games that you happen to play in 2022.
Alright, do you have any other, in terms of how we do this breakdown, are we thinking, each person goes, person by person?
I'll start off with my number 10, and, I'll tell you the game, little description. If you want to just jump in and say any thoughts, feel free.
Okay,
Free form.
Is this a swearing podcast? Or
Yeah,
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's the internet.
Very cool. Alright, sounds good, Andrew.
All right.
Oh, and I just want to call out our sponsor for this episode, Hello Andrew. Use code Andrew30 when signing up for Hello Andrew to get 30% off your box of garbage.
Yeah, box of garbage coming to your doorstep soon.
What the fuck is Hello Andrew?
Ooh.
Alright, what's your number 10 game?
My number 10 game. And this is kind of funny. I didn't even play this game. But I did. I experienced the game from start to finish, and I feel like if I did play it, it wouldn't really be much different. And that game is Frog Detective 3.
Woo!
These games, they're not super gamer games, but at the same time, a game doesn't have to be like this. Sometimes it can just be a cute little experience. You're a frog guy going around and you solve a crime. And it's kind of just a fun time.
It's just like Putt-Putt solves murder.
Yeah, I've never played that, but you just go around, talk to people in a town, and they're like, we're all about crimes in this town.
I don't think anyone got murdered, right?
No, but somebody did go to jail.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first person in the world of Frog Detective to ever go to jail, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Frog Detective 3.
Yeah, I think they did, the concept of jail it was called the bad room. It was just invented.
How do we feel about spoilers on this?
Oh yeah, sorry about
This is a
that.
full spoiler podcast.
Honestly, just go crazy for spoilers. It's spoiler territory time.
I
Yeah.
see.
The year is over. It's been long. 2022 is over.
Yeah.
Some of my games are
Spoilers,
half a decade old.
Yeah. Alright, Alex, you want to hit me with a number 10?
My number 10 was chess.
Oh.
I thought it was a pretty well balanced game with lots of depth. But I thought there was some room for some improvements on game feel, maybe a bit of that game juice in there, and also they've integrated NFTs now. It was done post release. It was just kind of a sloppy integration. I mean,
There's NFTs in chess now.
Is there a specific chess app that you use or something?
chess.com.
Wait,
Alright,
there's
fine.
Chess.com NFTs?
Yeah, there are. Yeah.
Wow, I
Wow.
truly hate that.
Yeah. Okay. No, my actual number.
Wait, no,
Wait.
Wait.
Yeah, don't
Wait.
just...
What's the going first advantage in chess?
What?
What's the going first advantage?
Where you play.
What
white?
is the white versus black advantage? Does white win more 2% of the time or something?
I think it's considered to be even, with maybe a very, very small advantage for white. But
Really?
there have been many attempts at proving it over the years, and it's never really been done.
This doesn't align with everything I've learned from reading
Alex.
Nerdy Chess.
Is this a joke or is this
This is a
actually
joke. This
chess?
is not my number
I
10.
feel like
Hey,
chess is a valid pick for you.
Answer for a
Kind of
video game? I don't.
well, you've literally been
Yeah,
playing
you
the
play
apps
chess
version
all
of
the
it.
time.
That's a game.
And you play it all the time. And you did
Yeah.
play a lot in 2022.
Did you started in 2022, right? That's when you started practicing chess?
No, I think it was 2021.
Okay,
so-
yeah, you can't include that in this podcast.
Yeah,
Get that shit out of here.
I mean, that's also going to make number 4 a bit interesting, but we'll get to that.
All right.
Okay, so my real number 10 is Hypnagogia.
Oh.
Boundless Dreams, I think was the subtitle. I thought it just had a really cool aesthetic, honestly. Probably in my top 10 just for the title screen alone. But I thought it had some pretty cool moments, some nice little hidden secrets in it. Just a cool sense of atmosphere. It brought me back to that, like, little indie game exploration, like strong sense of atmosphere kind of thing that I was craving at
What
the
kind
time.
of game is it?
It's like, it's first person. I mean, you watched me play a bit of it, I think, online. I'm not sure if you remember it.
Maybe. Was it? It was all like crazy, weird shit happening? Or
It's like heavily
something?
inspired by this game LSD. It's like you're basically wandering through these dreamscapes. There's like they're kind of a bit abstract,
And
and
you
then
like
it's
help
like a
people or something?
yeah, you like help people or something, but it's
Yeah.
like kind of
There's some
weird,
light puzzle-solving
mysterious,
elements.
bit of puzzle
Okay.
solving. Yeah, I don't know. Thought it was a good time. Left an impression on me. Number 10,
Nice.
Yeah.
What's that name again?
Hypnagogia.
All right. Max.
My number 10 is old mainstay, the Dark Pictures anthology, Devil in Me.
Oh.
Yeah.
I recognize that these games are not good as games. However, we all enjoy them quite a lot. And this time, I played through this one with my siblings as well. So I got to see a little bit of the branching paths, which I don't normally do.
Nice.
And it's just a fun shared experience to, wander around and get these teens killed or whatever. It did feel a little more rushed and schlocky than some of the other Supermassive games. Yeah. Also, some of the voice work is really, really not good. But it's all in flavor of B-horror.
Yeah, I feel like this one started a bit slow, but I do love these games. These games are every single one. I think I've played every single game that Supermassive has released.
Except
Like-
for their shitty old license games.
Yeah, but when they started doing Until Dawn, everything after that.
I feel like this is the only one where the killer reveal just kind of never happens. Usually there's like a Scooby-Doo, you take the mask off the guy and it was your friend the whole time or something, but
Yeah, that was really.
he's just a murderer.
You find his backstory, right? It's like
I guess if
The
you actually
detective-y
read
guy.
that- I don't know. I didn't read that. So to me, I was like, so when are we going to find out?
Sometimes
That's fair
there's just
enough.
a serial killer out
It
there.
would just be nice to see a face or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't love the endings either.
Yeah.
But they are fun games.
Yeah. That's why it's number 10.
Right. That's the devil in me, right?
Woo!
Yeah.
Right.
All right, and my number 10 is a game that I would not have put on this list if I didn't play it with other people, and it was Pogo Stuck. Rage with your friends.
I was honestly debating it, man.
I was thinking about it too.
It was number 6 at one point on my list.
Yeah, it was fun. I don't know what about it. It's like Bennett Foddy's Getting Over It, but you're on a pogo stick, and it's just you can see everyone else who's also playing at the same time, and it's a little bit less like it's not as I don't know, highbrow as Getting Over It was.
Yeah, it's
Hard
definitely-
agree.
Yeah, but it's definitely still an experience, and I enjoyed playing it with you guys. I think we stayed up till like 3 a.m. one morning, just all trying to play it. And there was a part where we were all in the same area, and that was nice. Eventually, I think the skill gap between me and the other folks was a little too much, but it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it was nice when you made it over to Great Hell.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was an exciting moment.
Actually,
Had the three
I
of
never
us
made it
together.
to Great Pal.
Oh, when we were at the trees, then I guess.
Yeah, we're at the trees.
Oh.
I was stuck in the trees with you guys for a while, but
Classic trees.
yeah, no, it was good. Good old Pogo Stuck.
Yeah,
That's my number 10.
yeah, a lot of laughs. Live, laugh, love, right?
The whole breadth of human emotion.
In Pogo.
All right.
Dude, you remember the mountain in Pogo Stuck? Like the second area that we tried and we did a bunch of cheat codes on it. And it was
Mm.
still impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was wild. Anyways.
Yeah.
All right. Pogo Stack. I made like 2 jumps in that game. I was like, fuck this.
Refunded.
I don't need to play this anymore.
Oh no.
I'll just talk to you guys without playing the game. Alright, though. Number 9. For me, it is Cult of the Lamb.
Whoa.
It is kind of like, an Animal Crossing town sim. But every now and again, you go out and do a bit of a dungeon crawl, collect some coins and stuff, and you bring it back to your town, where you're starting a cult and you're treating your followers all right, or maybe you're sacrificing them to a god. Basically, you're trying to get revenge, and it's kind of cutesy, town management things going on. I ultimately did not finish it because it got kind of like grindy and weird. But I feel like I got it. I was like, I get what this game's going for, and it's nice, but I don't need to finish it. Cult of the Lamb.
We might have some more time to discuss it later. I don't know, but yeah, I have like conflicted feelings about it. I couldn't really get into it that much.
Yeah, I mean, I got to like the 3rd boss area, I want to say, something like that, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there's a pretty hard difficulty wall later on in the game, and it's mostly just the damage numbers get kind of high.
Definitely a bit of that too. It's like sometimes you get a weapon that like one hit kills things, and that felt pretty good. But then you wouldn't get that weapon again. And I don't know. Some of the weapons aren't that great.
Some of them suck.
Yeah.
I was just taking a look at like Devolver's like Steam rating numbers or whatever, and like Cult of the Lamb has like 42,000 reviews on Steam right now.
42,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm just like, the thing is when it came out, I feel like it was kind of everywhere.
Yeah.
Like something about that game really resonated with audiences across Steam, and I just feel like I kept seeing it show up on YouTube, show up on recommendations, and I'm still seeing stuff about it lately.
It got a bunch of rewards, didn't it?
Yeah, and from what I heard from you guys, it all sounded like, it was alright. Like, that's what I kind of got the vibe from people that I've talked to. And for a game that's like, it's decent, it's a solid... You guys made the top 10 list, at least for Andrew and I think some of you other guys. But, like, no one was like, this game is amazing. And yet it was still like, everyone was talking about it.
I think it was a very compelling art style.
Yeah.
Really good sound design, decent music. But also, like, the game has all these resource loops that, like, sort of keep you on a dopamine drip.
Mm-hmm.
My sister really loves dopamine drip games. Like, she explicitly calls them dopamine drip games. And she went in hard on Cult of the Lamb.
You've got, like, a skill tree for your town where it's like, just play a little more and you're going to unlock the outhouse so your guys don't just shit on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, yeah, that'd be nice for my town.
But there's, like, also your personal skill tree that you're unlocking with different resources, and, like, you also want to collect guys to put into your town to speed up your progression.
Your religion has a skill tree where it's like, now you can do these rituals and that'll be good for things, and it all kind of loops in with each other.
In a way that just keeps you playing until 2 in the morning.
Yeah. It's easy to get sucked into it, for sure.
Yeah.
Does that make it a good game? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it does make it ubiquitous. Because I think it did what it was trying to do very well.
I think I just can't get into the whole cutesy but gross aesthetic.
That is a
it
little
was
bit.
going for. It was a turn off for me with Binding of Isaac, too.
I don't think it ever really got into gross aesthetic, though. I think it was mostly just cutesy.
Except for all the scat.
There's like the sacrifices and all the poop and stuff.
Well, maybe the poop, but like
And the vomit.
It's not like they ever go into like goriness with the sacrifices. It's just like they turn into a light and get zipped away kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a little bit like Happy Tree Friends energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Happy Tree Friends was everywhere when it was first around.
No, right. And I guess it's still, the concept is still very popular. I will say, I think the art style and the theming of it is the strongest thing for me. I haven't played it yet, but the thing was, I looked at it and I'm like,
The strongest thing for me is the thing that I interacted with. Yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, it's like, it looks like a Hades, like, it had some like village building elements, but just like the whole package itself, I liked the theming, I liked the world.
I fully expect to
I
see
saw.
Cult of the Lamb merchandise in a Hot Topic near me soon.
Yeah.
If it isn't already there. Who just went?
So it was Andrew, now it's on to me. I guess my number 9 was a trombone champ.
Whoa.
If
Great.
only just for like that first warm up where I was like crying laughing at just like how absurd the game was. It really caught me off guard and entertained me quite a bit more than I expected to. Really only lasted me like 2 days of like, playing through it a bunch and stuff. But yeah, I guess so maybe like lack of, I don't know, like a compelling hook or like and maybe too much reliance on poop jokes and some of the sub menus was like a bit of a turnoff, but I just thought it was a super funny game. Really entertaining. And one of those games where it's kind of interesting how like being worse at it almost makes it more entertaining.
Right.
Because of the panic of trying to get on note or on time or anything. Yeah.
It's funny.
I found out that game was made by the same person who made
Icarus Proudbottom.
Teaches Typing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it made me wonder, like, everyone really liked Trombone Champ, and I felt like it had, like, there's, like, hidden secrets in this game energy that might be kind of funny or, like, surprising.
Yeah.
Did it have that? Spoilers?
I think it did, yeah. I don't think I got to them, but I think there is, like, a final boss, like, thing.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know if it was... I don't think there was a huge amount of, like, hidden content.
Right,
But
okay.
maybe I'm wrong.
Alright. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. They did add community modding to it, though, which was kind of neat. There was,
Oh my
like, a
god, Trombone
Through the
Champ beat
Fire and
maps.
Flames, like, version, which was pretty neat.
I can see the OS community getting into it.
Yeah. I don't know. That's it for me.
We're on number 9, right?
Yeah.
My number 9 is Grounded.
Whoa.
Haven't finished it, but I feel like I got a good experience out of it already. My siblings really love these, collect some resources to craft some materials, to collect resources at a higher tier, to craft some tools type games. And I got like a good bit of playtime out of it with them, good hangout times. I think it's a good game for sort of meditative zoning out and working on stuff. Combat is like not awful, and more than anything, the experience of just like little discoveries as you explore the map is really nice. I think it's kind of similar to Mario Odyssey in that way, where like I don't think anywhere near as dense as Mario Odyssey, but like where a lot of the fun is just sort of like finding little jokes.
Yeah. For me, Grounded is higher on my list. If we should just like go into
We can pick it back up later
we'll
if we
talk
want.
about it again.
What's your number 9, Adam?
My number 9? Well, just on Grounded before we finish. I just wanted to throw in my opinion on Grounded.
Yeah, pop off.
Which I didn't like it.
What?
You hate
Yeah.
crafting games.
I just hate
though.
crafting games.
Yeah.
That's me. There's nothing more to it. It seems like a good crafting game. I just
There's
don't like them.
thirst in 100 meter. You're like,
Oh, I'm
I
freaking
cannot
out.
manage.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I have to drink some water, I'm like,
Why?
yeah.
You're wasting
Water
your
in
time.
front of you, and you're like, ugh.
Oh. Really makes me think about how, like, when we were playing Valheim, you were like, Valheim, how it handles hunger and thirst was way
Yeah.
better.
But you still probably hated that.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But like you're not well, I mean it's kind of the same thing with World of Warcraft's like rested system. Granted, I haven't played WoW, but like basically they took stat debuffs you get from not being rested and turned them into stat buffs you get when you are rested. And it's kind of like,
Sometimes.
is that CJ?
Yeah, it is CJ.
Pop off. It's kind of like the same thing in the different direction, but psychologically it feels different, right?
World of Warcraft?
Yeah.
Isn't that just like if you haven't played the game, it makes it easier for you to play the game again? Or more incentivizing you to play the game?
No, I think the rested system is like a daily login bonus.
Alright.
I don't know. This is just some shit that I saw off a Warcraft YouTuber.
Alright, should we move on to me?
Yeah, what's your number 9?
Alright, my number 9 is Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Oh, I totally
Yeah.
forgot that was 2022.
Yeah. I don't have a lot to say about this game, I think. I actually didn't play much of it. I mostly watched Don play it, but I did play, like, bits of it. And it was like actually made me interested in Pokemon again. Like I really love the universe of Pokemon. I know the stories are never really great, but it's just a franchise I'm attached to, and I just feel like it really like having kind of like the action-ish elements of just trying to aim with your Pokeball and hit them, and then like have some of the mixing up the combat with like that swift and strong system. I feel like it was just enough to make me like be like this is a Pokemon game that I actually want to play. And seeing how Scarlet and Violet turned out made me really feel like just kind of reinforces that like I'm more interested in the direction they went with Legends, and I hope they kind of do more of that in the future.
Controversial, brave opinion. Legends Arceus is the best Pokemon game.
Ever?
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a better one. Can you?
Crystal.
I play Legends Arceus. So
Dong's not in the room. You don't have to say that.
I just mean I'm really nostalgic for Crystal.
Yeah?
That's like on my personal list. I put Pokemon Crystal as the highest Pokemon game just because they are good games, and that one to me had that like Kanto reveal, which was like I don't know, it was just really cool at the time.
Gym 2 was pretty poggers, yeah.
Yeah, but
But like without the nostalgia classes.
I don't know without the nostalgic glasses.
I forgot about the Kanto reveal in Crystal.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That was actually awesome. They need to do that more in games where you think the game is over and there's actually an entire second island or whatever. Like
Elden Ring.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't know, I haven't finished Elden Ring.
Right. But yeah, I don't know. Pokemon Legends Arceus, pretty good. I hope they do more games like that.
Alright, sick. Seem cool. Maybe I'll play it one day. Number 8, guys. For me, it's Blossom Tales 2. That's right.
What's the subtitle, Andrew?
The
Minotaur King?
Minotaur King?
Legend of the Minotaur King or something?
Yeah.
I think it's just the Minotaur King.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, well, anyways.
Fake Blossom Tales fan.
Fake
Blossom
fan.
Tales. It's Legend of Zelda-like. If you guys don't know, anyone who's listening that isn't Tyler, is made by our friend Tyler.
No bias, though.
Oh, strong bias.
Mm.
Well, it is a good game, though. I only got to, like, the 3rd dungeon area, though. But, what it's doing, it's doing it good. You're going around, you do the dungeons. It's what you want from your classic Zelda, and they haven't made one of those in a while. They're onto the new Zeldas. So, we got the indie devs like Tyler, so we can get our fix, our Zelda fix.
I mean, they remade Link's Awakening, but that's just the same game.
That wasn't as good.
I also didn't finish Link's Awakening.
Yeah.
Kind of got boring.
Yeah, I'm surprised at how much I didn't like Link's Awakening.
Cute art, though.
Oh, the art was great. Best part.
But, like, weirdly framey sometimes. Like,
Oh,
what's going on with that?
that's
You know
not the
how
reason
Adam
that
feels
made me
about
not finish
friends?
the game.
Are you sure it wasn't?
It's the thing I complained about the most. Every time you go in and out of a dungeon, it switches from 30 FPS to 60 FPS, and it's just so obvious to me. It's like, pick a lane, buddy.
Do you get mad about Mario Kart too?
Well, when it's Mario Kart, like, it's 30 FPS for the entire like section, or 60 for the entire section.
Right, because when it's split screening.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Alright, Alex, you got a number 8?
Yeah, put Neon White.
Wow.
Mm.
I thought the gameplay in that game was super great sense of speed, really satisfying when you're doing it super well, and good variety too in the gameplay. Like, they added additional mechanics on top that never ruined it quite for me. The traps were maybe a bit annoying, but still, once you learn to like navigate them and deal with them, they're also really satisfying. The only reason it's not higher on my list is just I thought the ending, like both the fake ending and then like the true ending, were like just a bit of a letdown. I was kind of hoping for maybe if I did all of like the collecting the presents and going through all the side quests and stuff, maybe there'd be a bit more to the ending than there did end up being.
The truest of true endings.
Yeah, the truest of true endings, or even just like a super duper final level to mark off all the super secret extra stuff.
The super duper final level is getting all the red dev times in the game.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I mean, you don't unlock it. It's just doing it.
Doing that is, yeah.
Yeah, I don't
'cause
know.
There's so many like little secrets and stuff that you're different paths
Oh,
you
well,
have to do to like get those times.
like, to me at least, spoilers, Neon White's also on my list a little higher. But to me, I think the super secret ending, or the super secret level pack, is just replaying the levels but optimizing them.
That makes sense.
It like really, really distills the satisfying part of that.
Yeah, I
to
mean,
me.
I think for the speedrun community and people that are really into like grinding those times, it was great. I just, I really like it when games kind of surprise me when I like bother to do all the extra
Yeah.
stuff. In some ways, I guess I've almost come to expect it a bit, or just feel a bit let down when they don't like give me something a bit more extra.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it was.
mean, I was just saying, from a game developer's perspective, it's like you don't want to spend time working on content that, like, 0.01% of your players will see.
Yeah,
But that's always the stuff that feels like that to me. Like 100%ing the game, like the best reward you can give someone is like a more game, like that secret level. Like I'm thinking of like Super Mario 3D World. When you get every single green star,
Oh, yeah.
you get the final world with that one ridiculous level.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I feel like that's the kind of like that's my favorite type of 100% completion reward. It's just like some stupid shit level.
Star World?
Yeah, like the Star World type stuff, or Crown
Mm.
World,
It's
or
Crown
like
World, I think.
yeah, Crown World, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I thought it was a great game.
All right, Neon White. Ooh.
Number 8. My number 8 is Tori 2, which I think came out in 2022. There's not a ton to say about it. It's just a really, I guess, kind of a little bit in that same category of like casual speedrun games.
What was Tori 2, actually? I'm not familiar with it.
It's-
You played it.
Yeah,
I did?
it's
Yeah.
you're like a little bird chick.
Oh, wow, that game.
Yeah, it hits like it does what you remember Sonic Adventure 2 Battle doing, but actually fun. And very satisfyingly fast and fun to optimize.
Yeah, that
The
game was
soundtrack's
great.
fucking a banger, and it has like just enough of those like little discovering mystery things to like be intriguing. And it's like a nice small self-contained experience, and I really appreciate that.
I think it was 99 cents.
Also,
Which-
99 cents, great value.
Yeah, made it really easy to recommend. I remember, I'm pretty sure like one night I like messaged Alex at like 11:30 p.m. being like, Tori 2, play it. I don't know if you.
I think I messaged you back at like 4 a.m. being like, okay, I like S-ranked everything.
Yeah.
Because I got super into it.
Yeah.
Those 5 hours.
Yeah, we spent like a night basically trying to S rank a bunch of the levels in 2, I think.
Right.
Just hanging around your apartment.
And I think like when you do S rank all of them, they do give you a reward of like a new secret character.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you've already beaten the game at that point, so it doesn't really matter. But I like that you get acknowledged. You get
Yeah,
that little character or whatever.
Yeah.
that's basically it.
All right.
Tori 2.
Let's see what's on my list. For number 8 is a game that didn't come out in 2022, but I played it for the first time. Dusk. It's a boomer shooter. It's like a what does it compare most to? Like Doom. It's a Doom type game, I guess. You're just running around some like a PS1 styled level shooting bad guys, and it's extremely fast. There's lots of secrets to find. The combat is pretty fun. I like all the weapons. I don't know if I have a lot to say about it, just that I haven't played a game like it in a while, and it definitely feels very unique from modern shooters.
Yeah, it's really satisfying.
Yeah. I didn't actually finish it. I think I played the first whole campaign and the second campaign, but after that I was like, I think I've got my fill. I got it. Sometimes it gets a bit tiring in that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my
Especially
number 8.
as it gets more punishing and stuff, too.
Oh yeah, and when you stop unlocking new weapons, because you like by the end of campaign 1, you've seen every new weapon. I was a little bit less interested in like going forward. I like unlocking weapons. That's all.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that game was Dusk?
Dusk. Yeah.
Dusk. Nice. Okay. Moving on to our number 7s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mine is Hyper Demon, another boomer shooter. Great. It's you're just in that arena, you're shooting stuff out of your hands. You got a shotgun, kind of. It's
Mm-hmm.
very skill based and run based. I rarely last more than like a minute and a half.
You will not get to a minute and a half.
Yeah, I mean,
Damn.
well, it's hard to tell with this one because it's like golf scoring. Like the more you kill, you get time removed from the clock, and you
Mhm.
want to have your time be low, kind of thing. And if you're not killing fast enough, then it gets weird, and you run out of time. I forget. how
The
to
scoring
describe
system
it,
was kind of
but-
weird, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just another one of those like flow state games. You shooting the gems, and you're learning all the enemy AIs.
Yeah.
And they've added like the air dashes and like ground pounds that I was never able to do or like did once.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a weird laser thing. You can look at the scoreboard of like the people who are at the top for the day, and they're just doing all this crazy shit that like I don't know how to do. Like there's tutorials about how to do it, but they're just doing everything at once. And you're like, how? How did any of this kill any of the things on the screen?
Yeah, I love the replay system in that
Yeah.
game. I guess spoilers, it's like my number 6.
Alright.
So yeah, definitely, I thought it was super satisfying.
I
Right?
kind of
game.
bounced off Hyper Demon hard. I wanted to like it, but it felt like the initial cost of getting to a baseline level of competency in that game was so high. Like
Yeah.
on the level of getting to a baseline competency in a fighting game.
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, even getting above 30 seconds or 25 seconds like takes forever.
I kind of feel like I need to go back and give Devil Daggers more time because I bounced off Hyper Demon. Because I feel like it's hitting a similar note, but from a totally different angle and with simpler systems. Just to refine my first-person shooters-ness.
Yeah, I see Hyper Demon as a remix of Devil Daggers, I guess. Yeah,
And you use all the same models and shit, right?
yeah, not all the same models, but yeah, a lot of similar ideas are based on the same models.
What's your number 7?
I put a game that you recommended to me, Max, which was Tresbashers or Trey Bache. It's like this.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah, it's a 2D game where you're this little person exploring like a haunted house sort of thing, and you got a baseball bat and a flashlight, and you flash your flashlight on some ghosts, reveals them, and maybe stuns them for a bit, and then you smack them around with your baseball bat a bit. And it was like, it's one of those games where I just thought it was super generous in terms of its scope. There's a few other games that are kind of like this, like Cave Story, this lesser well-known game by Maddie Thornton, or Maddie Makes Games, like creator of Celeste. There's this game she made called Untitled Story, which similarly it just like feels really small to start. Like it's the sort of game where you think it'll be over like really quickly, and then just the scope like expands quite a bit larger than you would realize. Like the map in Tresbashers is freaking huge. Like you just keep wandering and you'll like find some new named area, and there's just like dozens of them, and it's just like it just keeps going.
Dark Souls moment.
Yeah, I think it's like I love it when a game is designed like that. So yeah, and just the combat was satisfying. There were a lot of like little hidden power-ups and merchants and stuff. There's like, after you beat the game, there's like a super secret hell area with like a bunch of like difficult enemies. There's like a bunch of nice stuff like that. Sort of like scratches like the same sort of stuff I was talking about with Neon White, where I kind of wish there was like a bit more of that like element of surprise to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been meaning to check out that game. It looks sick.
Yeah, spoilers. And I bought it, but I never actually got around to playing it because my like medical stuff got in the way.
What's it called again? Trade.
It's Tresbashers, I think is how it's supposed to be pronounced. It's like TRES-Bashers. So I assume it's like a pun on trespassers, but
But also it's spelled like Trey Bashers.
yeah, so I like have a really hard time figuring out how to read it.
They're not French Canadian, the devs, are they?
Yeah.
I have no
I
idea.
don't know.
My number 7 is Stacklands, which I don't know if it came out in 2022,
Yeah.
but it's a sock pop game. It's one of the ones that they chose to expand on from their like little monthly prototypes. And yeah, it's like a nice little self-contained sort of resource ladder dopamine game. But it's all done through the medium of cards, which makes it pretty easy to add new content for. but you know, I don't know. It's just like it's what it is. There's like neat, surprising interactions when you stack these cards on top of each other, and a lot of the time you can sort of sneak past having to research and discover recipes just by trying stuff with other stuff in a way that is, I think, neat. It's neat to do player discovery, and when your main interaction is so simple, it means that you have a lot of avenues to sort of accidentally happen into that. Yeah, and I also showed this one to my sister, and she went way harder on it than I did.
Yeah, I've been meaning to check out that game. I just was looking at it on Steam, and it's got like 18K reviews.
Oh my god!
I
really?
kind of feel like I don't know for sure because I haven't checked all their work, but I feel like this is Sock Pop's like mega
Smash
hit.
Brothers.
It was like the one that because they've been making like hundreds of games. They make two. They used to make 2 games a month. Now I think they make 1 game a month.
Mm-hmm.
But
Wow.
yeah.
Wait, what?
Have you not heard of Sock Pop?
No.
Oh man,
They're
you should
like-
definitely check them out.
How many devs are in Sock Pops? Like 4?
There's 4, yeah.
Yeah, they do like cycling, releasing games on a schedule, and like you can kind of tell which author did what game, but there's unifying artistic style through a lot of them.
Wow.
Yeah. They call themselves the indie game boy band. And you subscribe to their Patreon, and it's I think $3 a month, and you get 2 games every month, and that they like an original game that they made. I think their turnaround cycle is they spend 2 months. Each individual person from the group spends 2 months on a game, and then you get because of that you end up getting like 2 games a month.
Wow.
And it's just like it was incredible. Like they vary in quality. Some are really like I guess shallower experiences that are kind of like aesthetic or just showcase interesting idea. But some of them end up being pretty deep and have a lot of like game mechanics or like, and they're all very like they feel unique. And like Max said, they have a unifying art style that I think is appealing.
Yeah, like Puppy Park.
Yeah.
Not a good game.
Oh wait, what?
Not a good game. Bad game. I mean, Puppy Park's like a toy, I guess.
Oh yeah.
It's an interaction playground. But it goes from that to like Broom, which is basically Dark Souls, but with bad IK on the characters.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place.
Yeah, and I think they have a lot of aesthetic similarities between their games, from reusing stuff in order to make hit their crazy deadline that they're doing all the time.
Yeah.
So it comes together to like a really sort of unique aesthetic.
The indie game boy band.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess gamers just love a dopamine ladder.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
The numbers go up. Happy.
Cult of the Lamb, Stack Lamb. Damn.
All right, so that is
Valheim?
Stacklands by Sock
Sock
Pop.
Pop Collective, yeah.
All right, nice.
What's your number 7, Adam?
All right, my number 7 is How to Say Goodbye. It is a little puzzle game. It's like I guess it's kind of got these like Rubik's Cube type puzzles where there's like these like kind of I guess like treadmills that have like tiles on them and they all overlap, and you've got to kind of like push things in certain orders to get like open up doors and get keys and move objects where they need to be. The gameplay isn't like crazy innovative, but I feel like it's like it has a good flow to it. I felt like it was never super challenging, but it was never really boring. And it kind of had a really, I feel like its art style was really strong. Like it had like really the way it used like graphic or like color palettes and like visual effects. I just feel like it did something really great there. And it had a kind of a sweet and short, like heartfelt story. And just a game that I saw come out, and I feel like it didn't get a ton of coverage. So I feel like it was maybe a little underrated. I don't know. I thought it looked really pretty, but that's my number 7.
I think I was following the dev for that for a while back when I still used Twitter. Florian something?
Yeah, Florian. Yeah.
It seemed kind of sad, so I skipped it.
Same.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, death.
It
I'm
is
not gonna
a
do
game
that right
about, I was a little bit surprised at how it ended. Not like overtly surprised. I'm just like,
Huh.
the ending was sad.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't expect it to end in a way that it did. That was a little bit, kind of drives home the point of his story, but it still like stung a little bit. Yeah, it's a good little game.
All right, let's How to Say Goodbye.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, sorry. I just I listened to a podcast where they say the name of the game after they talked about it, and it's really helpful because a lot of the times I'll miss whatever they're talking about in the beginning, and then they'll start saying some interesting things, and I'll be like, "Wow, I want to check that out," and they'll be like, "So that's that game."
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So if I say the name of your game afterwards, it's called just for the listener experience. And
Thanks, our one listener.
hopefully they're getting something out of that. All right, number 6. My number 6 is Pentiment.
Pentiment.
Oh,
Yes.
Pentiment. The manuscript-looking.
Yes, it's
Adventure
an
game.
Adventure game, point and clicking around in the style of like old scroll drawing guys. It's
Illuminated manuscripts, that's what they're called.
yeah, all right. I don't know. It's going for an old school drawing style aesthetic, but it is like paper doll animated kind of thing going on. Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes it's like custom animations. But yeah, these kind of games are normally not my jam at all, and I think I played some of it on stream for you guys, and it's not a very interesting game to watch someone else play because it's a lot of reading. But once you're into the story and the mystery gets going, it's pretty good, as well as it just has great reveals throughout. And like it has a very satisfying ending. I felt like it goes for its themes, and then it kind of like hits you over the head a little bit with like, oh, this is kind of what the game is about, really. But you know, it's a neat game.
Sometimes gamers need that.
Yeah, sometimes gamers need that. Like,
I've been trying to avoid. Pentiment's been on my get around to it list for a while
Yeah.
after I've heard basically nothing but good things about it.
and the year's good on Steam Deck, so yeah, you're a Steam Deck gamer.
Sorry, this is an audio medium. I did a pog.
You did a podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, I've also heard a lot about it, but know next to nothing about it. Like,
Mm.
what makes it different? Sorry, like, I know that it's not, but what are the main gameplay mechanics? How is it different than a visual novel, per se?
Well, I don't know that it exactly is different than a visual novel. It's definitely one of the things that you will come across when you're playing the game is there's a bit of time management. You have like your morning, your like lunchtime, and your dinner time, and you can kind of do certain things during those times, and you have to choose basically to progress time if you're going to eat lunch with this person or you're going to eat lunch with the blacksmith. And you'll get different bits of information from these people that you eat with. And when you carry that forward, when you're freely roaming around, maybe that's going to affect things. You're not going to see everything in your first playthrough. And that is a part of the game, is that you kind of have to accept that you have a limited ability to do the things in the game.
Damn.
Yeah.
Just like Persona.
Well, in Persona,
You're gonna solve
you
the
are going
mystery.
to do everything, and
Oh,
you
really?
solve the mystery.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Whereas in Pentiment, I think if you play the first act, a slight spoiler, it's a murder mystery in the first act. If you are like, don't feel like you have to solve the murder. Like, you get as close as you can, but I think there is no true ending to solving the murder. And that's just kind of something you're going to have to accept. You kind of just have to do the best that you can and move on.
Wow.
I feel like that concept of like you make a choice in the game, and that means that you're not going to see like a set of content. I guess like I feel like that is what makes kind of those story-based games feel meaningful. It's like The Walking Dead. Like when I first played that, like season 1 or whatever, like before I knew about the Telltale formula, that like, you know, everything kind of branches the story back together because it never really, they can't make the story diverge that much. But the feeling that like, you know, you're having your own original story and you're missing out on other opportunities, other things that could have happened because of the choices you made, and it sounds like that's a really nice feeling.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what make those story games, like the choices and then like feel like they're impactful, and it sounds like that game kind of delivers on that.
You telling me Clementine won't remember this?
I mean, she'll remember like that one random dialogue choice, and she'll be like, "Remember that time you did that thing?" And then that's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
She'll
But
frown instead of smile and say future scene.
if you didn't do that thing, she'll be like, remember when a bad thing happened there anyways? Because a bad thing had to happen, whether you said it was going to happen or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think like Night in the Woods did that thing where like every single day you had to choose who you'd hang out with, and like you would the place like I would look it up online, and like if you hang out with one character on one day, like you miss the chance to experience an entire like scene with the other character, and it's kind of like it just made the game feel like really meaty, and like there was lots of stuff in it, and this is really like your story.
But also
as you go
everyone
through
I
it.
knew just hung out with Greg.
Well, I hung out with both of them. I tried to do it even. I wanted to, I wanted to feel like a good friend. I hung out with Greg yesterday. That means I have to hang out with Bay today.
Mm-hmm.
But
Good old Bay.
what was
Who
that her
hates
name?
you? Yeah.
Okay.
I guess so.
B?
I always
okay.
called her B, because I was like, why would someone's name be Bay?
No, you're right. I have no
I
idea.
think it's BEA.
Oh, for Beatrice?
Oh, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah,
She would be
okay.
named Beatrice, yeah. Yeah, I didn't do that much socializing with Beatrice, but I kind of regretted it at the end of my playthrough because I had a couple like meaningful scenes with her.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, I should have done that more.
Yeah. So yeah, Pentiment, number 6.
Oh, I thought it was Night in the Woods.
That's your number 6.
Hey, check out Night in the Woods too if you're into
Being sad in
adventure-y-
Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
My number 6 will be pretty short because we covered it earlier and I don't have much to add, but it's also Hyper Demon.
Let's freaking go.
I loved the whole idea of your score is ticking down over time and then incentivizes you to play as hyper aggressively as possible and kind of optimize those little interactions to get a higher score. I thought that was just a really neat gameplay mechanic that it forces you to play it slightly more aggro than you might in Devil Daggers. Although I think both have to be played just like that way in order to survive
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah.
But I thought it was a really well designed game.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just the moment to moment action of optimizing each pattern, trying out new ways of figuring out how to take down a specific wave of enemies feels really good when you just nail something.
Or you're getting that Poggers run and there's only a snake guy coming on the screen and you've lined it up perfectly to where you just stand still and blast his spine
Yeah.
and you just remove the whole spine in one go.
Yeah, it's just like,
yeah, this fucking yeah.
yeah.
One thing we didn't talk about Hyper Demon yet was the visuals, right?
Oh yeah, it's super
Like,
trippy. I love how
The
trippy
field
it
of
is.
view going all over
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, I'd never seen that so much, and honestly, it maybe made the game a little bit as I don't know if I can play this.
Yeah.
You
The
definitely
most
have to.
seizure-inducing game.
Yeah, there's a full hour or whatever where you're just trying to figure out how to learn
Yeah.
what's even
How to
happening
read the
on
screen.
screen.
The screen.
Or,
Yeah.
something's approaching you from behind, and it's just a red skull.
Yeah,
mirror
just
image,
flashing
and,
in your.
just
It's
like something
what?
Yeah. What was the field of view in that game? Was it almost was it
Was it
180
360?
degrees? It just looked huge. It
It's
looked
just
you
that they
could
do a
see
bunch of
everything.
they make it feel that way, but really it's just if something is, it's what Andrew was saying, where if something's approaching you from behind,
Ah.
it'll flash that image of that thing that's approaching you on
But
on your
there,
screen in front of you.
That's
there are
crazy.
those power-ups that do increase the field of view.
Oh yeah, that's
to
true.
make it,
When you have it when you're in slow mo, it's just
yeah, it does
whoa.
go crazy mode.
So
too.
do you have
I don't
weird
know.
hypersense 360-degree vision that you have to learn how to use?
Yeah, you kind of do. In the
Yeah.
really intense moments, you really know everything that's happening around you.
That's fucking
And
crazy.
it looks awesome. Yeah, so really neat game.
Cool.
All right, number 6.
We're on 6. That was Hyper Demon.
Yeah, that was Hyper Demon. Sorry.
My number 6 is Dwarf Fortress. The
Woo!
graphical adaptation of it. I had a really good time with this one. I've bounced off the classic version of Dwarf Fortress a couple times back in high school. I've never been huge on colony management sim games. But something about Dwarf Fortress was really compelling to me, and part of it was just the curiosity of what's the history here. Dwarf Fortress is obviously one of the most established sim games that there is, essentially.
Legendary.
Yeah.
Of like, you just hear all these crazy things happening in Dwarf Fortress.
You gotta check it out.
Then you see a screenshot and you're like, what the fuck am I even looking at?
What's all these B's and Q's? I will say, I did eventually end up bouncing off Dwarf Fortress. Around when you crack into the caverns and start having to zone your fortress effectively. And as much as I love a well-planned city, I do not love zoning and establishing boroughs. I think part of the problem is that my fortress was doing reasonably well, so I didn't want to lose it, and I was going to lose it if I kept playing. But yeah, it was a lot of fun as a game. And I think I really enjoyed the music in that game. Like,
Yeah.
It was good.
It was, very nice ambient soundtrack. Dwarf Fortress.
Yeah, I just want to say I forgot to put it on my list. I think I have the game through itch.io, so like it wasn't on my Steam library when I was looking through it. But that game is definitely within my top 10. So push Pogo Stock at the end there and put Dwarf Fortress somewhere in there because I love Dwarf Fortress. That game was like when I heard about Dwarf Fortress, all these stories about how dense a game it was and how it had like all this like simulation. I kind of got the impression that it was like so dense of a game that it wouldn't be that much fun to actually play. Like I didn't expect that it was actually kind of an approachable game. Like it scratched that like Roller Coaster Tycoon itch. It's just like you were managing this colony of people.
Yeah.
And like it was actually very fun. Just like not just like the stuff you hear about is the stories. Like so and so like broke their toe in a bar fight and then someone else like tripped on it and then died or whatever. Like you hear about those crazy stories, but the actual game itself was like actually really fun. Which is like kind of like I was going in out of curiosity to hear about these stories, but I got addicted to the game. I just really liked it.
Yeah, you hit Mountain Home, didn't you?
Yeah, I got it all the way to Mountain Home, and then
wow.
I found that like the stuff that it kind of expected you to do next was to like dig into hell, but that kept releasing demons and killing all my dwarves. And when dwarves die, the other dwarves all get sad. Makes sense. And it's just like they were fine, and then you just keep digging, and everyone's upset all the time. So I'm like, maybe I'll just. I didn't want to. I was like, I don't know what to do, and I'm gonna stop playing for now, but. It's like I need to go on with the mindset that I'm like I'm not trying to make these guys happy anymore because I spent so long giving every single person their own like wood oak like bookcase in their bedroom, and now I'm gonna tell them that like no, you've got to throw away this beautiful life you built for yourself just to like dig into hell because you can.
Yeah.
Because I say so. Yeah, there's so much about setting up the forts still being kind of awkward and hard to do that it gets you really attached to the fort.
Yeah, no, I feeling like it's got a bit of that City Skylines thing too, where you feel like you can optimize the layout, and it's like that like idea of like you're building something that's both aesthetic and functional at the same time, and it's like I don't know. I'm really looking forward to the adventure mode as well.
Me too.
Because a lot of people have talked good things about it, and I was surprised when I like loaded up that like it generates this whole map and this backstory, and you can only explore one square of it, of the world map. And I was like, I thought you could just go anywhere. So really looking forward to being able to check out the entire world of Dwarf Fortress because my spawning map, which like the tutorial, like I let the tutorial pick my starting spot, and it put me on a blood mountain. Where rain of blood and human eyeballs grew into the ground.
What?
And all my kids hated it. They were like, I had kids in my fortress, and they were all perpetually throwing tantrums because they got traumatized by being rained human blood on them when they were kids. So, anyways, good game.
I mean, it was too dense for me. I feel like I needed to play this with some like actual guidance from a human, because I would like do things that the game wanted, like build a trade outpost, and then it'd be like trade outpost needs a trade master, and I'd click on my guys, and one of them was a merchant, and I'd be like, all right, that guy should be the trade master, and there was no way for me to figure out how to make him the trades master, and I was just like, man, what the fuck.
Yeah, I had to watch like a bunch of streams of dedicated Dwarf Fortress people explaining how to get a functioning house, essentially.
Yeah, they did a really good job making the game more accessible, but there were still quite a few menus that are
completely
I mean, it's
invincible.
difficult to navigate. Yeah, very difficult to navigate without like just watching a tutorial on YouTube
It
or
is.
whatever.
It's funny that you said that you started on like this Blood Mountain thing. I started at another town, and I went to like the river, and there was alligators, and I was like, "Fuck this, man! I can't play like shit. It's just some alligators."
It's kind of hard with Dwarf Fortress not to resist the urge to restart the game all the time. For me, like just or keep going for Fortress, because like when you learn the mechanics better, you just kind of want to go back and just do it again, but better this time. Pick a better starting spot or start your fortress more intelligently, lay it out a bit more aesthetically in a more appealing way. I don't know. Lots to love about it.
Yeah, seems cool. Dwarf Fortress. So
What's your number 6, Adam?
All right, my number 6 is The Mortuary Assistant.
Oh.
It is a horror game that is about someone who is a mortician, and they start their new job, and they go into this like spooky old mortuary, and their like boss is a little bit of a weirdo, but like not so much that they're like not gonna work there, but just a little strange. And then you get called back, I think, like to do a night shift or something. And then the boss has locked you in the house, being like, "Yeah, actually, like we've got like demon problems, and I need to like kind of pass these on to you. So you need to like, perform the mortuary stuff, like steps on these bodies, while also like trying to figure out which of the bodies is possessed by a demon. And then you gotta like kind of cross check like different things you'll see on the bodies with like a database of like the demons that he's left behind, or like a book about them." And it's not a perfect horror game. I feel like definitely like you can die pretty. You can mess it up, and then you have to redo the whole game again. But the game, like if you do it well, is maybe like I don't know, like 45 minutes. But it's long enough that like I tried it 3 times and I couldn't beat it. So I never actually fully beat the game. I looked it up on YouTube. But it's so that bit, the replayability like suffers a bit, because doing they actually make you do each step on the mortuary steps on different bodies, and it takes a long time actually. So but the scares in it are good. They've got do some fun stuff with the jump scares. They play with your expectations a little bit, and it feels like a tight, confining, a little uncanny space. And just it was neat that they made a horror game that wasn't based around had more of a concept around it than the traditional, you walk through a spooky hallway and a ghost pops out at you. Which I love that too. But I think that was nice that they tried something different here with a little bit of the investigative work of like trying to do some research while also avoiding spooky ghosts, while also, completing your job. So, yeah.
Phasmophobia meets Surgeon Simulator.
Basically, yeah. It had that Phasmophobia element. But I think the scares were much more were better than Phasmophobia.
Cool.
Yeah, I saw some neat clips from it of like, I don't know, scares where it's just like something's in your periphery or whatever, and it's not like a normal jump scare. It's just sort of
A JPEG of a face in the window.
No, well, it's just like, I don't know, there's like a creature like on a bookshelf or whatever, and it's just sort of sitting there, and it's just like, oh, like you don't notice it at first.
Yeah, I
It's just-
appreciate... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's just kind of neat when they play with your expectations like that,
Yeah, I appreciate it when horror is comfortable to let things hide in the background rather than pop out at you.
Yeah.
That's a fun thing. I feel like I had something else to say, but yeah, they did a good job with their scares.
Mortician's Tale?
No, that's
Assistant.
not Mortician's Tale. That's a different game about being a mortuary. This is the Mortuary Assistant.
Mortuary Assistant. A spooky game. Cool.
But in a different way.
Yeah, it's different. Not so
Sure.
jump scary, apparently.
I mean, it still is very jump scary.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Still
Yeah,
jump scary.
lots of
But
jump
also not
scares.
100%
Oh,
jump
what I was
scares.
gonna say is that it's randomized, the jump scares.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like because you're intended to play it multiple times. That's what I forgot to say. Is that the jump scares aren't scripted. They're kind of like based on things that you're doing, and like
Oh.
they don't always come, and you don't know. Like it keeps you on edge when you play through it again, because like it's a little bit different every time, and they have some fun moments that come out of the sometimes like some really weird things will happen that didn't happen in other runs, and it just makes you feel like there's stuff going on in the game that missed content and all that. Anyways, on to Andrew.
All right, number 5, guys. It's
5 guys?
The Quarry.
Woo!
Yeah, that's right, guys.
That also came out in 20. Oh,
Yeah, it did. We played it.
Yeah, that's why Devil in Me was so late and bad.
Oh.
Yeah, we played it at Max's cottage, and it was a good time. Playing that as like a group, yelling at whoever's playing to press the buttons correctly,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe leave a thing behind or don't leave a thing behind. How could we? We gotta make the girl kiss the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's camp counselors are spending one extra night at the camp after all the kids have gone home, and spooky things ensue. There's a mystery, and I feel like the ending of it was good. You do get the reveals. The monsters that turned out, you see who they were, and
Who were
Yeah.
they?
Oh,
No spoilers.
well, we could spoilers.
Yeah, it was the
It was
family that owns the camp.
Yeah, the family that owns the camp.
yeah.
No way,
Yeah,
dude.
how could he?
Yeah.
His
But-
own camp.
They did a decent job with the reveal and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
it was a
like,
good reveal.
I probably,
it's like, okay, go ahead.
I probably should have put the Quarry instead of Devil in Me, but it's not in my Steam library, so I forgot about it.
Oh, yeah. I also have Quarry on my list, but yeah, I'll get around to it.
I will say, playing these supermassive games, you're tempted to redo and go for the good ending or whatever, and every single time the good ending is not worth the effort to get the good ending. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh,
Watching the YouTube video is usually fine.
yeah, in this one shot you have 2 people instead of 1 person.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna say I feel like the ending was a letdown in that game.
Yeah.
Well, I think
I agree.
it would have been nice if there was more endings.
Uh-huh.
I'm fine with the ending as it was, being mostly like you kind of just kill everybody. That's not the camp counselors.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's what I kind of wanted to happen.
But they build up the silver wolf or progenitor werewolf.
Yeah.
Through through all the snippets and stuff that if you choose to read, make it a whole thing
You would think that there would be a true ending where you could team up with the crazy family.
against the silver wolf,
Yeah.
right?
I
And it doesn't even come in.
that never happens.
Never
I'm pretty sure.
happens.
Yeah, I feel like the one thing that kind of bothered me about the ending was that there wasn't there was no after the climax in the game. Like, the climax happened and then it went to credits. I feel like it's
the credits. It has a podcast,
yeah,
and based on how well you did, it's like, oh, all the kids went to jail, or oh, all the kids got acquitted because they found enough evidence to show that the family was thing. But it is kind of one of those shoehorned in. Like, it would have been nice to have a cutscene instead of having to listen to this 5-minute long podcast.
Oh yeah, they also got actual podcasters with a semi-famous D&D podcast to do the podcast at the end, which was really surreal because I listen to their podcast sometimes.
Just curious, what is it significantly better than the other supermassive games? Or?
Definitely better than Devil in Me.
I see.
Yeah, I feel
What
they
separates
put more
it?
effort into it.
I see.
Yeah. Do you remember what's the game? Their first game. What was it called?
Not Until Dawn.
Until Dawn. Yeah, Until
Yeah.
Dawn. Did you play that one?
Sort of. I think I watched YouTube videos of it or whatever.
Right. Until Dawn was a lot meatier and it had more content, I guess.
I
And
see.
also maybe more paths and more things that could happen. And
I
just
see.
the level of quality was just a little bit higher.
Oh yeah, the Quarry isn't
animations.
part of the Dark Pictures anthology.
So they don't have to
right?
hit an annual deadline to release one.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I think this game, because it is more like the Until Dawn than it is the other ones. It's just everything was higher quality.
I see.
The characters were a little better, they were nicer characters.
They got some actual actors in it as well.
Yeah.
They got London Tipton from that one Disney. What is her name? The actress.
I don't know.
I don't
London
know.
Tipton.
Feels a little bit more relatable than
Yeah.
the military guys going into a desert.
That's
Yeah.
also true. I've been a teen.
Yeah, I've been
At
to
a summer
I
camp.
went to a summer camp.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just if you're looking for a new
Me
one,
too.
Alex has always been an old man.
Anyway, The Quarry.
Yeah, boy, pretty good.
My number 5 is going to be short. It's Dwarf Fortress.
Woo!
But yeah, I guess the other thing is just I was really impressed how they made it really accessible for people to jump in.
Yeah,
to
if
be
you're
able to
really committed, unlike
committed.
me.
If you're, it's easier to become. I still think it demands an unreasonable amount from me as a player.
for sure,
but a much more
compared to
reasonable,
the
unreasonable
text,
amount.
Yeah, like compared to the
Yeah.
text UI, everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like even not just the accessibility part of it, but just the visual, like adding actual graphics. I think it just adds a whole bunch of extra appeal to the game.
Yeah.
It makes you want to play it.
Yeah,
And I do also feel like the only reason why I was able to play it, well, it's because Dawn got the game and she like watched a bunch of videos about how to play it.
Yeah.
So as I was playing, like a lot of stuff didn't make sense, and I'd just be like, Dawn, how does this work? And she's like, it's like that.
yeah.
And that really made it easier for me to get into it, because if it was just like, nothing, like, and I knew I had to go and watch a bunch of YouTube videos before I understand it, I don't know if I would have been able to get into it as much.
Yeah, I think it's one of those games that encourages like a lot of like social collaboration, like getting a group of friends or just like watching, like having some creator, like watching a bunch of their YouTube videos, just like sharing a bunch of knowledge back and forth. It goes back to those like much older games where maybe like they were so obscure or difficult that you sort of had to talk about them a bunch with someone else in order to make meaningful progress.
Yeah.
Collectively solving a puzzle box kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh no. But yeah, Dwarf Fortress. That's pretty high on my list.
The thing that took me forever was trying to get water in the winter. That was the thing. Like, I'm pretty sure I did do 2 fortresses. The first one, everyone died of
Blood.
thirst.
First,
of
yeah.
thirst. The second one was the one built on the Blood Mountain, and I figured out I
Brewing ale.
can't remember how I solved the problem, but I managed to get through it. And then like it became my project. Like every year after, I was trying to work on this system to bring water from the river into the the fortress in a way that I could have it be reliable and not be a pain. And it was a huge project, but once I got it actually done, I was like, it was so much work.
Did you ever flood your fortress?
A little bit, but never enough to ruin it.
Okay.
Yeah, just a few people's bedrooms got collapsed in, and maybe like 1 or 2 people died in a cave-in. But
not a
too
big
bad.
deal. Yeah, not
Yeah.
too bad, all things considered. Could have been worse. Could have been the end of your whole fortress.
Yeah.
Alright, Dwarf Fortress.
Dwarf Fortress. Right, gotta repeat. My number 5, Cult of the Lamb.
Whoa!
We talked about it earlier. Good dopamine treadmill. Which, honestly, normally Skinner box games... I have a difficult relationship with Skinner box type games, where I think I'm pretty susceptible to a good dopamine treadmill, a good little bit of randomization. I mean, I play card games for fun. I play trading card games for fun. That's basically just gambling. But I enjoyed Cult of the Lamb. I agree with, I forget who said it earlier, but there's a hard wall towards the second half of the game where you just kind of need to roll the right equipment in order to make it through the dungeon because the damage
boss
scale
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can also skip the 3rd boss and do the 4th boss
Oh.
while you work on your fortress or whatever, which I think that goes a long way in my book, is having a little bit of freedom in terms of the order you tackle stuff in a game. And yeah, I did end up finishing it, and it left me kind of like the same feeling you have after you chow down on a bunch of fast food afterwards, where you're like full but not satisfied.
Yeah.
But I still had fun when I was playing it.
Yeah. It's got lots of little things that you can go around and do.
Yeah. I'm like, I tried to keep my cult pretty happy, but I did do sacrifice. But I also made them believe sacrifice was good for them. So they were very happy
Well,
about
you could
it.
just resurrect them later.
I didn't do that.
No.
Heretics get the axe. Cult of the Lamb.
Nice.
All right. My number 5 is Neon White.
Ooh.
Yeah, what again?
And yeah, I guess I feel like we already all talked about it. It was good. You know, actually, I'm wondering now if I maybe would have put it a bit lower on this list. Just I played it on the Switch. I thought it would have been cool to have on the go, but I really regret that just because frame rate was not as good and the controls were not as good. But you know, I don't know. I liked the game a lot. It was fun to play through. I still wish there was kind of more going on with like the meta game, like the stuff that you do outside of the trials.
Yeah.
Like none of it really stuck for me. Like they had all these locations on the map that made me feel like I was going to be going there and doing things.
Mhm.
But I think after I started playing the game, I just never went to do any of those things.
You didn't unlock the cool sword keychain?
I think I did. I
Okay.
might have done that, but they weren't interactive in the way I hoped they would be. But yeah, it was a fun game. It was well designed, fun levels.
And the soundtrack is a banger.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
the soundtrack. I know, Adam, you're not into that style of music much, but man,
Machine Girl, my beloved.
what a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
Alright, Neon White.
Neon White!
Alright, I guess we're gonna move on to our number 4s.
Really getting down to it.
Yeah. Also, before, is your computer alright? Is it still recording and stuff?
It is, yeah. I've been eyeing it from over here.
Alright.
How much
It
of
just-
it is it recording white noise?
It just does this sometimes. Well, the mic's over here, so I think
Should be
it'll be
fine.
fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I could stop it here, we could do a cut, and I could just check back the last few minutes, whatever, make sure it sounds alright before we...
It's fine.
No, let's take a quick break.
Alright, guys. We're on to our number 4s.
Woo!
I'll be kicking things off with Vampire Survivors. I wasn't sure if it was Survivors or just Survivors.
Yeah, it's Survivors.
But
Because
yeah,
you got multiple of them.
this is basically like almost an idle game, right? You just walk around, weapons shoot out of you, and you collect more weapons. You level up, the numbers go higher, your damage goes higher, just more shit happens.
Yeah.
It's a very good, just chill out. Like, don't even really need to think that hard kind of game. Listen to a podcast, watch a Netflix show where that's mostly what you're doing, but you're gaming in the background. Just a good time killing kind of game.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've put so many hours into Vampire Survivors.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, I was achievement complete, but then they kept releasing new content.
Yeah, they kept adding stuff.
How dare they?
But you know, you're getting the weapons, and then it turns out the weapons combo with each other, and they mutate into a whole other thing.
It's got like
You gotta see all these mutations.
really fun unfolding that happens in the game. Again, very idle game-like, along the line of like, you know, Universal Paper Clips or Cookie Clicker or whatever.
Results the DLC now.
Yeah, I haven't bought the DLC
Adding
yet.
There's
stuff.
2 DLCs.
Oh!
Oh my god.
Also, they got James Stephanie Sterling to write for it. There's writing in Vampire Survivors now, in like the codex or whatever, and like the ending plot line with the whole.
Wait, there's an ending?
Yeah, there's an ending.
Oh my god.
Well,
I need to go back to Vampire Survivors again.
who would have
I
thought?
kind of assumed once I got to the codex or like the weird achievement sort of stuff that I was basically just at the phase of now I just unlock characters and that's kind of it.
Kind of, yeah.
Maybe not. Maybe there's more. There's always more of Vampire Survivors. It's kind of the wonder of it.
Also amazing that a game that is basically just a slot machine doesn't have microtransactions in it.
Yeah, it's pretty nice actually.
It was like $3 when I got it.
Yeah,
So
I think it's like $3 now still. It better be.
Very
I
generous game.
think all the DLCs are also like $2 or $3. So you know, just go in, get all those DLCs, guys. Buy things.
The value pack.
Yeah, Vampire
All right,
Survivors.
Vampire Survivors.
Number
Number 4.
I'm feeling a bit bad because it was on my list and then I was doing some editing and it just sort of slipped off there. I never
Yeah,
added
that's
it
why
back
we have
on.
my list.
Yeah.
You know,
You
so
know,
we still have room to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, wow, maybe it should have been on my list at some point.
It was on my candidate list, but it didn't make it.
Oh, damn.
Alright. Well, let's hear what
Sure.
you got instead of Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Vampire Survivors, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think, like, why it would have been lower on my list compared to where it ended up on yours.
Oh, Vampire Survivors got bumped by Tori 2 for me.
I see.
Definitely.
I think it's just something about it. Like, I almost feel guilty putting it on just because of like the lack of interaction. But then there is like a bunch of interaction that you do.
Yeah,
And there's some really cool things that you have to, like some of the characters you unlock or whatever. Or, like, you have to do a lot of thinking about how to combine stuff together. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a neat game that came out that year.
Yeah. Adam, do you have any thoughts on Vampire Survivors?
Oh. Do I have thoughts on Vampire Survivors? No, the answer is no. I never played it. To be honest, everyone really likes it, and so I probably should give it a try at some point. But when I look at it at someone else's screen, I'm like, I don't want to spend my time doing this.
That's how I felt watching Andrew play it, and then I played it.
Yeah. It is like Diablo condensed into half an hour.
Yeah, I never played Diablo
Like,
either, though.
you go from a weak guy into an incredibly, you're just killing everything on the screen kind of guy.
Like I said, I'm a sucker for a dopamine treadmill.
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, I look at it and it looks just like a dopamine treadmill, and it's like it's too on the sleeve.
But
I'm
it's
like-
not a dopamine treadmill, it's a dopamine water slide.
Alright, Vampire Survivors, number 4 for Andrew. For me, number 4 was Dance of Fire and Ice. I mean, this one feels a bit like cheating, kind of, because I started getting into it in like 2021. But 2022, I really got into it. So it's like a rhythm game that's got this super simple setup. It's just like, you basically hit one key on your keyboard and just like, try to press it whenever this like circle intersects with like a block, and then it starts spinning around that block, and then you do it again. But just like, man, the amount of mileage and the skill like cap that they get out of that that simple mechanic is pretty insane. Honestly, people like beat levels in this game that seem humanly impossible to me, like just the sheer level of precision on all the community content, and then the visuals, the community content are really incredible. It really, I've never quite seen a community as excited to make miniature music videos for like cheesy electronic music as like the community this game has built. They just look really cool to me all the time, and they feel super satisfying. So it really made me want to put better level editing tools or better creator tools into things, just seeing what people were able to do with this. Yeah,
if anyone's listening to this podcast who doesn't know Alex, he is a drummer. So this is like I feel like this game overlaps with your drumming interest. It's so rhythm based.
Yeah, it almost feels like drumming,
Mm.
just on your keyboard instead. You start doing crazy stuff, man. You're like using like 8 fingers at the same time to play stuff, and it's like, that's impossible.
It's like a one-button game. What?
But then, like, you can just hit any key on your keyboard to do that one button, so then you start bringing multiple fingers in to, like, press multiple buttons.
Yeah, because the time that it takes for the key to return up, you're like, I already need to be pressing.
Yeah, I already need to be pressing something. I need to do a triplet or, like, a super fast roll.
This is like how OS players have keyboards that are mechanical keyboards that are just 2 keys.
Yeah.
And they alternate with key pressing. This is like that on steroids.
Oh, man. Yeah. I wouldn't mind to hook it up to my actual electric drum kit and play with that at some point, but...
Is it humanly possible?
And some of the difficult levels would certainly not be, but I feel you get away with some of the more easier ones. Anyways.
So that's a song of... It's
A Dance of Fire and Ice.
All right. Not a Song of Fire and Ice.
That's George R. R. Martin. My number 4 is also not a game from 2022, but it's a game that I went in hard on 2022, and that's Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy.
Oh.
Did you get the golden pot?
No, I got disabled before I got the golden pot.
Well, you were close.
I got like 20-something clears.
I mean, that's more than I'll ever get.
Yeah, I went into this game expecting it to be like kind of pretentious and kind of like stuffy, I guess, from the reception that it got way back when it first came out in 2010, whatever, in the 2010s. And I was really pleasantly surprised to find it was kind of the exact opposite of that. It was not really... it has this reputation for being, the front of a wave of rage games, or the whole point is just to piss you off. But I really didn't get that experience from it. I felt like it was the way that the map was designed really was teaching you how to play the game in that sort of quintessential World 1-1 Mario kind of way.
Yeah.
But just much more awkward and precise. And it felt like a really nice precision platformer to me at the end of it. And yeah, definitely frustrating at times in the way that Dark Souls is frustrating, and definitely plays jokes on you as the player in the way that Dark Souls plays jokes on you as the player. And if you sort of go into it recognizing that you're going to be the butt of some of the jokes and that you have to laugh along with it, then it's actually kind of great.
I love how creepy Bennett Foddy sounds in some of the voice lines.
Especially towards the end.
Especially towards the end when he says, "I put this snake in for you." There's like something about it that's like really unnerving, and I just love it. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like getting over Bennett Foddy, like I wanted to beat the game. I loved the game, but I couldn't get past Orange Hell. Orange
Hell is just the worst.
Yeah, I kept. It was hard enough for me to get there, and then actually performing it seemed impossible, and I just did not have the patience to grind the earlier area enough to practice Orange Hell to do it. But I just feel like the game is a lot more to it than being a rage game. Like I feel like it's an art game.
Definitely.
Almost. Yeah, it's like
I think so. We played Pogo Stuck after I think after my surgery, because I couldn't play keyboard and mouse games for a while.
Right.
And Pogo Stuck was like, oh, what if I try and get that same experience on a controller? And yeah, Pogo Stuck, I think, really made me appreciate getting over it more than I already did.
Yeah.
Because it is just a rage game, and I don't think it is designed in a way that teaches you the game.
Yeah.
And I don't think it has... Okay, I'm going to say it. I don't think the depth of the movement system in Pogo Stuck is the same as the depth of the movement system in Getting Over It.
Yeah, I mean, hard agree. I thought Getting Over It was super fun in the moment-to-moment gameplay. I mean, exhausting if you played it for, too long in a single session, but, man, I just, I really loved the feeling. I could feel a sense of self-improvement with Getting Over It, whereas Pogo Stuck and, Jump King's another one that I've tried, I just never really felt like I got there, and so I found it hard to keep going with them, whereas Getting Over It was relatively easy to come back to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also wanted to say, without thinking about it too hard, it feels like Getting Over Bennett Foddy is fundamentally about the relationship between the player and the creator, and the different ways they explore that. Especially the pinnacle of it is spoilers. If you beat Getting Over It, you get put in a chat room with Bennett Foddy, the real person. I mean, it's not anymore. I don't think he checks it, but at least during the beginning of the era, that's what happened. I just feel like it's interesting about it feels very much it's not subtle about it. It is it's him talking to you the whole way, and everything in the game is he designed that, and it's just yeah, I don't really have anything interesting to say about it other than the theme of the game is the relationship between the player and the creator. Or something like that. And I just like that. I like it when there is a theme in my game that I like to think about, and how the different pieces of it come together. And it's just something that's present in every video game, but that game is wearing it on its sleeve. Yeah. So more than it's difficulty and it's punishment, is that it's I don't know, it's just interesting how you get to know Bennett Foddy or create a one-way connection with somebody.
Yeah, I felt like it had something to say.
Yeah. Anyways.
Does Snake care for you?
Alright, that's Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, number 4.
Alright.
Adam.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 is The Quarry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what more to say about it other than I love these games. I'm a sucker for horror. I'm a sucker for interactive fiction. I wish that there was more opportunity for the game to truly branch. And I also want to say in the playthrough that we all did, it ended very anticlimactically.
Oh my god.
Just because everybody died except for one person who, like, they didn't mention.
At the very end when we're like, hide in the freezer.
Yeah.
And then the game's like, are you sure you want to hide in the freezer? And we're like, yeah, that's what I said, isn't it? And she just fucking dies off screen.
Yeah, no. The thing is, like, other people survived. Someone could have gone and opened the freezer.
Yeah.
No
one looked around in the morning.
Nope.
They're just like, we're out of here.
And it's just like after it ended, like, again, let's jump straight to the podcast, but there was like some people that survived and I wanted to hear some hanging threads. At least in The Devil in Me afterwards, they all sat on like a boat at the end or like on the shore being like, oh, remember what happened? Are we going to break up or stay together?
We're so effed up now.
I just wanted to see them like sit together and be like, damn, we went through some shit. Or like in the ending that we got where basically everyone died. I wanted to see like the last person left being like, man, everyone's dead and now I have trauma. Like, just give me something.
Yeah, just give me something. Right?
But I loved it. It was a great game.
Brenda Song, that's the name of the actress.
Right.
Alright, the Corey. So, you guys ready for number 3?
Give it up for number 3.
My number 3 is Grounded.
Okay, let's go.
Alright, Grounded. Such a poggers game. Alright? It is, you know, you're collecting wood and rocks, you're making those tools, but you're tiny, you're in a backyard. It's kind of sick for that.
Yeah, it's like Micro Machines.
Yeah,
almost.
like a Micro Machines or something.
Man, I
And
love
it's-
how much you love this game. You can hear it in your voice.
Like, I'm playing Valheim right now, and I'm like, man, I wish I had the feature in Grounded where you could sort the items in your inventory automatically, or like you just press a button.
It's got a lot of
That's what I
convenience, yeah.
And like the upgrading of your guy, and you're going around and you're finding cool shit. And like you said, Max, you know, you're exploring the worlds and stuff. Or like the little biomes, the mini biomes that are within the backyard of like the pond, the sandbox, the tree, and like the roots that's got little tunnels in there. And like, you know, in a regular video game, you see some trash on the ground, and that's just trash on the ground. But in Grounded, it's like a hot dog that got dropped, and the sesame seeds are sprouting in the ground, and there's a bunch of sesame sprouts there. It's like, whoa, dude, that's attention to detail going on.
It's pretty great, yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like they got really creative with the way, with the map design in that game, and I really appreciate that.
There's a hedge, and you're just like, that's not just a bush, dude. You could explore in those branches.
That's
a
a
bunch of
crazy dungeon.
Yeah,
Actually,
crazy
that's pretty
dungeon in
awesome.
there.
Yeah, that does sound kind of neat.
There's like a giant spider nest. You could go fight a giant spider.
We gotta go fight that giant
You
spider.
gotta go fight him.
Your enthusiasm is a bit infectious.
I will say my big stopping point, the reason why Grounded didn't make it higher in my list is because as you get further in the game, it gets more and more it requires more of a time investment from you to do a lot of things, and also it's a game with a hunger and a thirst meter. They definitely mitigated that with a bunch of the post-release patches, and they also added like, oh, just play on easy mode, but
Yeah.
I'm too proud
I
to do
feel
that.
like, honestly, I started another game in easy mode, and I'm like, we should have just been playing in easy mode.
That's so here's my thing is that if the game gives me an easy mode option, but it's very explicit that like the authorial intent is to play it on this mode, I'm going to go for the version that has the authorial intent behind it, even if I have a bad time with it.
It feels like in normal mode, you're fighting an enemy like an ant, right? And it takes like, I don't know, 10 hits of a regular weapon to kill an ant. In easy mode, it still takes like 4 hits, but it feels like, it just feels like a good amount. Like, this is how a normal person would have balanced the game difficulty. Because some of these guys are so spongy.
Yeah, a lot of the enemies in that game are bullet spongy.
It really takes until the end of the game when you have the high tier equipment for that to like not feel that way. But I don't think most people are gonna get to that level of the game.
Well, the game wants you to grind up to the high tier
Yeah.
equipment, but that requires standing in one spot and like cheesing 30 ticks in a row.
It is like, well, I don't know how else I'm gonna kill this stink bug without just standing in a high spot and making 100 arrows to kill it.
Mm-hmm.
To get like the next tier of stuff to have a better thing. Then maybe I could stand next to it and kill it. without choosing its bad AI.
Yeah, maybe I should go back and play it on easy.
And
Turn off all the hunger bullshit.
I think one of the best reveals is still yet to come for you.
Yeah?
So you gotta go back because there's another few biomes, I think. Well, I don't want to say too much, but there's
Past Upper Yard, there's a ton more.
there's at least one more area that I think you'd be like, whoa, there's a whole other fucking thing over here.
Alright, we gotta go back.
We're talking Elden Ring level. There's a whole fucking thing under here. Yeah. So Grounded, great game. Honestly, if we go back, we could just turn Hunger and Thirst off.
Yeah, whoever's save file we're on.
Probably
It's
have
Adam.
better time. That is the other thing, is we started on Adam's file, and there's been a bunch of times when we're like, can we just turn friendly fire off? And we're like, we need Adam to do it, because it's technically his world, and he's the only one that can change the difficulty settings.
But he hasn't played the game for a year.
And he refuses to download it again.
I gotta buy it.
Oh, right, because Game Pass is kill.
Yeah.
If I start playing, would we do a new file?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And,
does sound satisfying.
yeah.
Man, I also get that thing about the easy mode, like the authorial, whatever, the intent of the author, whatever. It's like, I also, like, what was it? Disc Room is a game that came out, like, I don't know, 2 years ago or 3 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And it had, like, these really, like, robust accessibility modes where you could, like, change the difficulty on each, like, thing. Like, you make all the enemies slightly slower. You could make you slightly faster. You could change your health. And, like, I couldn't beat the game. I got to, like, the second half of it, and I got stuck. And I tried using those, but I just felt like I was cheating. And, like, I don't know. I can't use those kind of things. I wouldn't normally pick an easy mode. And I don't know if that's a problem with me, but it'd be nice when games find a way to input that kind of, like, easy mode thing, but, like, implicitly. So you don't realize you're picking... You think...
I feel even more insulted by that.
Oh,
If the
yeah.
game's like, oh, you're a little baby. Oh, you want Luigi's fucking golden cat suit?
Not necessarily that, but, like, I don't know, maybe Elden Ring has an easy mode, and that's just, like... You can, like, choose how you want to play it if you just want to
Yeah.
level up a lot, or you want to use a cheesy strat.
The
or
easy
you wanna
mode
do-
is using whatever community exploit to get 1,000,000 souls and then doing a ranged build.
Sure, yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. There are also... They've updated Grounded, so, like, when we were playing it, if you died, you would drop your backpack, and that would have all of your equipment and all the loot that you had in it. And you kind of have to do death runs. They've changed it so now you keep all of your items, your crafted armors and stuff. You just drop, like, bug loot that you would use to craft things. So if you die in a really bad spot, you'll still at least have your axe, and you could do something else instead of...
You don't have to reset your entire journey from
Yeah.
the start.
You don't have to just keep going into the meat grinder until you get your stuff to get back.
I see.
And you could change that to be how it was when it first came out, if you wanted to.
But that's the
Good.
default now.
Yeah, the default is you keep your equipment.
Nice.
They've realized they tuned this game way too hard.
Yeah. And I was playing when they added another row of items to your backpack, so it's just like...
For free?
Yeah, it's like, you know what? You should just have more item slots. And I'm like,
Nice.
oh, thank God.
Thank God.
I hate having no item slots.
Yeah.
You still kind of feel like you have no items.
It'll still fill up, but not as bad as it was before.
Nice. Number 3, Grounded.
Number 3, Grounded. What a great
What's your
game.
number 3, Alex?
Yeah, so number 3 was Fortnite.
Oh!
Were you playing that last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew.
Am I the only one who got on late?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
think so.
Sorry.
Still love you.
Yeah, I mean, Fortnite. Andrew got me into it. I thought it had super satisfying gameplay. It was way better than I expected it to be. It's just, I don't know. I think it was the first time I started sliding around and shooting and stuff. I was like, yo, this game is actually pretty dope.
Then you play another game that you can't just slide by crouching.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like, why can't I slide in every game?
Yeah, the shooting just feels really good. The whole platforming and everything. I mean, maybe my only complaint about the movement is that you bump your head a bit too much, or sometimes it's super annoying to jump over a rail. But it's just minor stuff like that. It just feels so good to move around in that game.
Yeah.
shoot at things.
When's
Yeah.
Platinum Games gonna make a Fortnite?
Yeah, no.
Oh,
We
yeah.
should.
All those updates and stuff. Who knows what they're gonna drop, guys? Gerald's of Rivia? What?
Yeah.
Yeah, now I can make them dab.
The Attack on Titan guy?
I mean, lots of cool characters in that game.
Yeah.
Always getting added.
I've heard how bad it feels for developers to have your game development never ending. Have the game you're working on never end. You don't get that break, you don't get that release. It just keeps going on forever. But from a player's perspective, it is pretty exciting when new stuff happens like kind of regularly
Yeah.
in your game. And it's that new Mega City they dropped. That kind of blew my mind when it was added.
Yeah, those are like
That's like a
huge
lot of
chunk
content.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really dope when I don't think about the moral
Human
implication-
cost.
Yeah, the human cost that goes into it. But yeah, I also really like just how social the game is. I mean, honestly, like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just really helped me like stay close to you guys and like hang out and just like play video games and
The new
stuff all the
photo
time.
stuff.
Yeah, it's just like, you know,
Just
it's really easy to get on Discord and just like go into a game of Fortnite and hang out. I mean, the only complaint I have there is just like, you know, 16 gigabyte updates all the time, hours to download, like kind of annoying.
No, I feel like you're right about the social stuff. Like that's kind of the main thing for Fortnite for me is that it's a game that I enjoy, like for its mechanics alone. But like it's also just like everyone's playing it. It's a game that's accessible. Like it's the difficulty scales really easily. Like
Yeah.
because they insert bots into the game
Mhm.
depending on your difficulty. You can kind of play it at any level of skill and have a satisfying experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's tons to do. You can just go fishing, or like
Yeah.
you know, go to some obscure part of the map where people aren't likely to be, or just run from every encounter in a car or something.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
there's lots of ways you can play it.
Or, like if you're on the XP grind for the Battle Pass, most of the things aren't like, oh,
Kill people.
win.
Yeah, like
Sometimes
win a
it's
game.
like you gotta like
Get 20
kill
headshots.
and like do things, but you know you'll usually get that stuff over time. So you know it's not crazy like win 5 games today, anything like that. It's just go in there and do something. Usually
Yeah.
open a door. I can do that game.
And also as a socializing tool, I feel like the game's design itself, because there's 100 players and everyone's spread out, and a lot of the early players run into our bots, is that like matches last like maybe 20 minutes, and like the first like 10 minutes is usually like usually a firefight when you first land, and then just like 10 minutes of like looking for better guns.
Yeah.
And you just give there's a lot of downtime to just talk to people and hang out and like have something that like, you know, you're doing as a group to kind of keep you, you know, connected and busy.
Yeah,
But
like
you
I
can
often
also
like get
just talk.
people's life updates like during those like you
Yeah.
know little after we've wiped Anvil Square.
Yeah.
Like, you know, just like I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta say, I hopped on Final Fantasy XIV kind of hoping it would be like a social connectivity thing, and it was not at all.
I mean, that's kind of my bad for like dipping from that game around the same time you were
Also,
getting
the game
into it.
kind of sucks. And I also didn't end up playing it with Dawn that much, because I was playing it when I was out on disability, and the whole like level sync thing sort of falls out of pace, and the optimal way to play the game syncs out. It's not as good for that.
Yeah, so I think Fortnite's social stuff can be a bit better, although I still haven't gone to like the role-playing aspects of Final Fantasy XIV or like
You'll
into
never
really
get it.
engaging.
There's nothing there.
I see.
There's nothing there.
I can't get married to some online bunny girl. is what
I'm
you're
sure
saying.
you could get sexually harassed by an old woman.
Oh.
I will say, the interest curve it sounds like you're describing is very similar to League of Legends, or what I remember League of Legends being like, where there's like, here's your initial what the fuck is happening at the beginning of the match skirmish, followed by like 20 minutes of just like light interaction and farming with occasional points of interest.
Right.
And then the game eventually just sort of ends in a series of big fuck-ups.
Right.
Where most of the reason you end up playing the game is just sort of to have something to do while on voice chat with your friends.
Mhm.
Um,
I mean, one thing in comparison is that I love clicking on heads more than I like clicking on
bodies.
top-down bodies.
Yeah.
Top-down, yeah.
And Fortnite is very non-committal. Where
League of
like,
Legends is so sweaty.
Yeah, and it's just like you can play alone if you want, and that's totally valid. So it's like if you're like in League of Legends, if you're playing by yourself, you have to go with random teammates, and that has like a whole bunch of friction, right?
Yeah.
And if in Fortnite, if you feel like playing alone, you can play alone, and then it removes that kind of frustrating,
Dealing with toxic sweaties on your team.
yeah. Like in a game like Team Fortress 2, it didn't matter when you were playing with random people because it was just so less competitive. But like in games like League of Legends or even Fortnite is a little bit competitive.
Yeah.
It's like being able to choose to only play with your friends. It's like I only play Fortnite with friends. I never play it with a random ever
Yeah.
because of the way the game is structured, and I think that's a big strength to its social appeal.
I do miss the random social interactions you have with, randoms from the internet.
Right.
But I don't miss 90% of them, which are all bad.
Right. It's like ever since like the Overwatch era or like the new era of the multiplayer games, it's like those interactions are almost always bad, and that's not why people play the game.
Well, also because I feel like so many of the games that we're talking about are explicitly competitive and focused on winning.
Yeah.
And Fortnite, like we were talking about, is very much not.
Yeah. But yeah.
Anyways, that's Fortnite. Try it out if you haven't heard of it before.
Yeah. By Epic Games.
Yeah, small indie studio, Epic Games. I'm going to be talking about another small indie game by a small indie studio, Elden Ring.
Whoa,
Whoa,
at number
number-
3?
And number 3, yeah.
What?
Wow.
That's a plot twist.
Yeah, not my goatee. But definitely one of the best of the year for sure.
Mhm.
I loved Elden Ring. I thought it has a very broad emotional spectrum from like quiet meditative moments when you're just like sneaking around the countryside or whatever to like really high tension combat. And I don't know, I've never been able to play a Dark Souls game before and actually enjoy it. Elden Ring is the first one I've actually enjoyed. I really love how so much of the game is optional. I get just a perverse thrill out of doing stuff in games in the wrong order.
Yep.
And so when I happened to do that in Elden Ring without really trying, that was great for me. I loved that. And yeah, I will say, so part of the way that we've been playing it is with the multiplayer mod, and I do feel like that cracks the experience in half in a way that makes it really apparent that Elden Ring is best experienced as a single player solitary experience, both in terms of the emotional like timbre of the game and how you interact with like the game systems. And I think that's part of the reason why it's not higher on my list. It's like I don't have 200 hours to spend alone in front of a computer in my leisure time because that's my work job, and it's kind of depressing. Also, I don't know. I sort of petered out in my gameplay after some surgery, and then when I tried to get back on, I was in the Golden City fighting a boss, and then. But anyway, basically I'm bad at the game now because it took too long of a break and I have to restart. I'll get around to it eventually.
Yeah.
I'll finish the game someday.
I just want to say, I think tonally, the game makes sense as a single player game, but I wouldn't say the game is worse as a multiplayer. Or I felt like the multiplayer experience I had played in Elden Ring, which was like I played almost the entire game multiplayer, even before the multiplayer mod, just like constantly summoning people in, exploring areas. And I felt like that was great, and I loved it. I felt like the game. I kind of made me wonder why I didn't play previous Dark Souls games this way. It was the first one that I played multiplayer, and I just I don't really have anything eloquent to say about it, but just
Probably the first one where other people were playing it at the same time and wanted
Yeah.
to play the game.
Yeah, it was basically like a massive event
Mhm.
Yeah.
that struck humanity.
I also didn't have a computer capable of playing Elden Ring when it came out.
Yeah.
So I got onto it 6 months late.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I was experiencing the game more of as a standalone thing than as a social phenomena.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that would affect it a lot too.
Yeah, the zeitgeist. Zeitgeist?
Zeitgeist.
Yeah.
I can't speak. The
Zeitgeist.
zeitgeist around it was pretty infectious.
Yeah.
And again, that co-op thing, it very much allowed you to choose the difficulty that you wanted to interact the game with. It definitely is easier co-op. And I appreciated being able to choose to have that option when a boss was coming along.
Yeah, when you and Mark came in and completely beat the boss that I was stuck on without me basically doing anything, I was like, oh, I don't feel good. I don't feel good about what just happened.
You've only cheated yourself.
Basically, yeah. Like that copy pasta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'll have more time to discuss Elden Ring as
Right.
well.
Believe it or not.
Elden Ring, it's my number 2, so like maybe I could do a little spiel about, its open worldness being like the complete game changer of the Souls likes.
Yeah.
Just being able to be like, fuck this armored horse guy. I'm just gonna turn around and go over here.
Yeah.
Hard agree.
And then you're looking for some cool items, and then the game's like, fuck you, you're in a cave now, and you're on the other side of the map. But I'm like, what the?
I think part of my problem with it is I didn't take note of like the breadcrumbs that I didn't follow. Like it seems like a game that I would want to play with a notebook, because where I'm at in my save file is I've done a bunch of breadcrumbs. I'm sort of like, okay, but what do I do now? I have no idea what the main quest is leading me, so I'm just sort of wandering around aimlessly, and doing side content that like Adam and Mark said was interesting to do. So
Yeah, the
And I think-
quests, like in the game, like there are quests, right? But it's not like you have a quest log or anything.
well,
Yeah.
even like, oh, there's a gate here that I needed a stone sword key for that I didn't have. I should go back and check it out later. Stuff like that.
Yeah. Just a game with tons of things to discover, and sometimes you discover a cool thing.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes that thing is a fucking awful dungeon full of skeletons and bullshit traps.
Yeah. Sometimes that thing is an elevator into a whole other world, and you're like, there's a whole other fucking world out
Yeah.
If there's a third layer, don't tell me. I want to experience. I'm still in the first half of the game, I think.
there. And honestly, so much stuff in that game. I did wind up petering out though, because it felt like it got too hard, and I was like, damn, like what am I even supposed to do against some of this shit? And then I did what he said, that you look at the community guideline where it's find a place where I can kill a bird, and then like you get one level from that. So I got to like level 130, like way beyond where some people beat the game at level wise. And I'm like killing all the regular shit easy because of it. But I go back to like the hard area, and it's still hard as balls. I can't beat them. It's like, man, why you gotta be like this at the end of the game?
I'll never forget the feeling of visceral disgust that overcame me when you showed me that stupid ass exploit.
Yeah, you gotta shoot this bird, and then he walks up and you get like
It looks so stupid, and you get so many fucking souls. Right?
Meanwhile, you're like busting your balls fighting some giant guy.
Yeah, I'm
who gives you
like-
hundreds of the souls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know. We can keep talking about Elden Ring in a bit.
Yeah, I have a feeling it'll come up
Yeah,
again.
it'll come
Oh,
up
for
again.
sure. What's your number 2? I mean
Alright.
3.
My number 3. We're on me.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's Elden Ring. In case you haven't heard of it.
My number 3 is Fortnite.
We finally
Yeah.
have the same one.
Yeah, I also started playing it last year, and again, I thought it was a game for babies at first. It was a little bit like,
Yeah,
children.
it is.
Well, I mean, like, it was like the kids thing. It's
Yeah.
like a TikTok. I
Yeah.
don't understand it. I don't. Whatever, they're dancing, they're shooting. It's a version of PUBG that they just like ripped off or whatever and stuffed into some other game.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, whatever. I'm too old for Fortnite.
Yeah.
And just as we talked about before, I started playing it, and it's great. Love it. It's they did a fantastic job with it. It's gotten better every patch, and
You'll play Mortuary Assistant because Campster tells you to, but you wouldn't play Fortnite because Campster tells you to.
I already had Overwatch at that point.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
My one true love.
And I did try Fortnite a bit at the beginning. And like I played a few of it. I played a little bit of it by myself. Like I think I downloaded it on the Switch out of curiosity. And I was just like, oh yeah, this is fine or whatever. But the shooting feels a little weird. I feel like I'm fighting bots all the time. I just stopped playing.
Yeah.
And then I started playing for real when Andrew was like, we're going to play Fortnite together. And I'm really glad we did because it's become something that like almost everybody I know can play. It's like a game that we can all play.
I gotta get back into Fortnite, I guess. I dropped off of it.
We can all play Fortnite, guys. Truly a uniting experience to bring every gamer under one platform, the Epic Game Store.
It's the metaverse, man.
Yeah.
Wow. The Epic Game Store really is inclusive. Hashtag Epic Pride.
Alright.
Mhm.
So that's Fortnite again.
Yeah, it's Fortnite again.
And as I already said, my number 2 was Elden Ring.
Whoa.
Hot
Wow.
take.
So yeah, I don't know if you guys want to add on anything. Elden Ring. Cool.
But you're
game.
not allowed to talk about the second half of the game because I'm in the room.
Yeah, no spoilies. But also, I didn't beat the game. I just got to a hard area. That was like, oh, I can't. I had that feeling where I was like, I'm not ready for the game to end yet because I got to go into like the sewer area. There's like shit eater guys down there somewhere. I gotta find him, and I never found him. I was like, it's just a fucking pipe world.
The loathsome poop mouth.
Yeah. And there were some other areas where I was just like, this seems like the end of the game. And then I went somewhere else. I was like, this is also the end of the game. I don't know.
Yeah.
And just stopped playing.
I still haven't found Melania. I still haven't found Poop Eater.
Uh-huh.
Who knows if you ever will?
There's
Who
so
knows
much
about that?
crap in that game, dude. Every time I watch a YouTube video of like, I don't know, someone's like playing Elden Ring, like there's some boss they're fighting against that I've like never heard of or seen. Like,
Mhm.
and I thought I like was being somewhat thorough in how I explored the game or whatever, but I didn't, like, it turns out I did none of the quests, like the optional side quests or whatever,
Yeah.
like really did them.
But you still felt like such a meaty full game.
Yeah, I felt-
even without that.
Yeah, like, I don't know, it was like a solid like 85 hours where I was just obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Like, and I was just, yeah,
I think you're the only person out of all of us who've beaten that game. None of us have beaten it.
I was like,
Right.
I could not stop playing it during like that week and a half or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, some of the best parts were that, well, like, it was really magical at the beginning. By the end, I was getting tired. I wasn't sure if I wanted the game to end or if I wanted it to, like, keep going forever. I eventually kind of petered off of it because I think a different game came up around that time. But,
Yeah, Fortnite.
but yeah, just I think some of the initial really cool thing was the map reveal. I feel
Yeah.
like I saw like the beginning of the game. It shows you like this map of the area that you're in, and I'm like, oh, this is a pretty big map. I'm like excited to explore all this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then like as you keep going, like this is spoilers, I guess. The map just like keeps like stretching, like revealing a whole. It just keeps scaling out.
Yeah.
Like keeps
It's
scaling
like-
out again and again and
And
again.
it's like, how? How does this keep happening?
Yeah.
I think-
teleported, and you're like, wait, there's all this shit in between me and here.
Yeah.
What could be
Yeah.
there?
You take that elevator down and you just like scream like that first time. It's like, it's
Yeah.
like,
Uh,
Just sick game.
I think that's part of why I'm like I feel like I should restart the game from scratch instead of like struggling through with my current build and position and whatever because I don't remember so much about it. But the thought of restarting from scratch and redoing all those opening areas is not actually that appealing to me.
I don't know. I've actually had fun replaying the game. I think I've done the beginning like 3 times by now, and
Wow.
you feel like you keep that skill, so you like go through it faster than you thought you did, and you also get to try out new items and builds, and that adds a lot of excitement to it.
yeah.
Redoing redoing Limgrave for a third time seems like such a chore to me. Even though, like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I know how to fight these enemies now or whatever. Having to do it because I've done it twice already will make me impatient and worse.
I think that's my main blocker on a second playthrough too. I've tried to do it a few times now, and it's like redoing Limgrave. Although I'm like still discovering new stuff in Limgrave that's like blowing my mind. Is like,
Do the skip to go to Caelid early.
I think I'll do that, or also I kind of really want to try out the multiplayer mod.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Like I really want to see if that. I know it sort of like cheapens the experience or whatever, but for a lot of the content that I've already done, I don't mind if it's like a cheaper, faster version of it. Yeah.
I've never fought Joffrey normally. I only did it in the multiplayer mod,
Yeah.
and the mod bugged out where Adam disconnected and then reconnected inside of the boss room with the AI deactivated. Like
Yeah.
Adam disconnected mid-fight.
Yeah.
We die, respawn. He reconnects. He's in the boss room, but the boss
the
AI hasn't triggered.
So the
'cause none
boss
of
is
us-
just standing there.
He's just standing there, and Adam kills him while we're like sitting around outside, basically.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Fun multiplayer mod. I can see why the multiplayer mod does what you thought what you want the real multiplayer to be. Like, it just adds what you think like a modern multiplayer title would be like.
Yeah.
But it also is super buggy.
I think it makes death runs a lot more irritating. Personally, that's what I found. And yeah, I don't think it gives you anywhere near as much time to do with the game systems or with the emotional tone.
Yeah. But yeah, for like the content I need to redo, I feel like I wouldn't mind that so much. And I do kind of wonder if they'll improve the multiplayer support with the DLC or something.
So what's
Maybe
your...
not.
Oh, sorry. Are you still talking about Elden Ring? We're good on Elden Ring.
Yeah, I'm good.
I mean, we'll get back
Until
to
it
it
comes
again.
up again.
We'll get back to it when someone's ready.
It might come up again.
What's your number 2?
Yeah, so my number 2, I mean, I was debating for a bit, but it wound up being Tunic.
Yo!
I mean, I freaking loved Tunic, dude. The whole experience of like discovering the game's mechanics, which are all there from the start, just by like manual pages of a bunch of obscure commands that you don't realize you can do at first, was super duper cool. I went into it with like no expectations at all. I thought it was just going to be like, you know, another sort of Souls-inspired game where you beat up some stuff, maybe there's like a difficult boss or whatever, and you do that a few times and the game just kind of ends. But yeah, I mean, spoilers, but like the whole, I mean, do you care about... Like,
I've
how
beaten
far?
Tunic.
Yeah, you beat Tunic, right?
I got to the Eyes of the Far Shore.
Yeah, okay. So like, oh yeah. Like, that's insane to me. Yeah, like the whole puzzle mechanic, or like witness like mechanic that gets revealed to you at like towards the very end of the game, is just like wild.
Like throughout the game, you're finding all these hidden paths that were like right there in front of you
Yeah.
at the beginning, and you're like, man, they keep doing this shit.
Yeah.
How do they keep making it? How do they keep doing it?
They just keep putting the answer right in front of me, or like this little shortcut, or like all of these things that you're seeing it, but you don't see it because you don't know.
Yeah.
It's like they just keep doing it.
The one thing I don't like about Tunic is you can never get a first playthrough experience again.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I tried to play it a second time, and I was like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go, because I've been like doing all this crazy shit that I
Know to
probably
do
shouldn't
now.
do on
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
run.
This is so my experience of Tunic was different from y'all's because I don't know what it was. I don't think I had a computer that could play it when you all were getting into it. So I got into it after having like the intro spoiled for me effectively up until the garden fight.
Right, because you watched like a bit of a speed run or something, or was it...
No, I avoided the speedruns, but I had watched you all like
Oh,
talking
right,
in
yeah,
Discord.
Right.
And I really didn't like the intro of the game, and I think part of it was because I had it spoiled for me, effectively. And then as soon as I got past that part, it was like, wow, this is amazing.
What do you consider to be the intro of the game?
I think up until the part where you discover prayer.
Yep. That makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like we had a pretty unique playing of the game, like Adam, Alex, and I, because we're all at the exact same moment in the game, and we're coming across puzzles at the same time. And, like, maybe someone can figure it out faster and be like, "Oh, it's this thing," or like, you know.
Yeah,
we should,
there's a
like,
lot of
get
trading
stuck on
back
certain
and
things.
forth.
Mm.
And it's the first game in forever where I actually got like emotionally attached to like whether I got spoiled on what was going on.
Yeah.
Right?
And so I feel like, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely, like for that, it was almost like going to be my number one. But, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it was my number one on my list.
Yeah.
Because I was like, wow. So what a What a game!
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, I feel like especially like the experience I had playing it with you guys was just like it was just really memorable. Like meeting up every night to like stay up all night playing it and revealing the secrets, trading stuff, and the game itself was great. It had the puzzles, it had the combat, and I loved both of it. Just like I don't know, amazing game.
I had
giant door.
my paper notes, and it actually felt like it paid off to have paper notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, just or like I remember one puzzle. I opened up Photoshop and I'm like flipping shit around and like lining shit up.
The one where you can sort of like see the reflection of the. Yeah.
I remember there were times where like when we were doing those puzzles, it was like some of them are kind of like you get the concept, but you have to like put in the work to decipher it.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, yeah, I get this puzzle. Just tell me the answer because someone else already deciphered it, and we just do that for a few of them.
Or like Alex does the musical chime one. I'm like, I spent like half an hour. I'm like, it all just sounds like music chimes to me, man.
Yeah, I mean, the soundtrack as well, really great. A lot of good boss battle music, a lot of good atmospheric tunes. When I go back and like, I don't know, occasionally YouTube will be like 2-hour like Tunic ambient music mix, and I'll be like, oh yeah, this game did have like a lot of just great tunes.
Yeah. It does need, like, I got the good ending as my only ending.
Same.
It would have been
And
nice
it locks
to
you
have,
out of the final boss
it would have been nice to
battle.
be like, hey,
It's
yeah,
like
there is a boss battle you could do if you want, just for fun.
it's a really fun final boss battle. It is frustrating they lock you out of it.
Yeah.
Try.
Maybe I should go back and do the final boss battle.
I also didn't get to do it either. I was kind of disappointed about that.
Yeah.
Because I thought they would like you'd still get to fight it. You'd have to like fight her and then like see the final ending.
But thematically, that doesn't make as much sense.
Yeah, that's true. I'm thinking back about like I feel like I first saw like a GIF of Tunic like a long time ago. I looked it up on Wikipedia now, and apparently it was like 2015 when the project was started. But it just feels like forever ago. And I remember like many games that I was looking forward to had come and gone in that time, and I was like, you know what? It was nice to know that like it was still being worked on. Like he stopped posting as much about it, but I was kind of like, man, what's taking so long?
2015 was 8
little
years
bit.
ago, Adam.
Yeah.
2015 is in 3rd grade.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Anyways, it felt like forever, and I was like, man, this guy's taking forever. I mean, like, I'm not blaming him. Like, I get games take a long time to make. But I'm just thinking now about, like, wow, that game, that definitely paid off.
Totally worth
Like,
the wait.
He invested, like, 7 years of his life into that game? That's a lot to do. And it's just, it's nice that it's, I don't know how well it did commercially, but at least, like, for me, it was an amazing game.
I'm sad it got review bombed.
It got review bombed?
Well, didn't it? Because everyone was like, maybe not review bombed, but just like, wasn't everyone complaining about it being a Legend of Zelda ripoff in like the reviews or whatever?
No.
That's a stupid thing.
It was
Like,
just
clearly
like,
it's an
really-
homage.
It's just a bunch of gamers being dumb.
Yeah.
You know.
I tried to get my friend Jeff to play it, and he totally bounced off it because the combat was too hard. And I do think the intro, the combat is kind of brutal before you get the sword.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't know, I've read some people talking about how, the world is not made for you, you're a sort of trespasser in it, blah, blah, blah. And that makes sense thematically, but gameplay experience-wise, less so.
Yeah, it can be hard to get in.
Mm-hmm. My number 2 is also Tunic.
Nice.
Yeah. Great game. I will say one of the other times I experienced a lot of friction in that game was when I found out about prayer by watching y'all, and then early prayer warped to the fucking place that kills you by standing next to purple pillars, the quarry. When it didn't have a gas mask yet. I was like, why is this game so hard? This is stupid. Refusing to play the game the way it's supposed to be played. Yeah. Oh, also, I got to the Eyes of the Far Shore ending, but that wasn't like total autonomous discovery the way you guys did. I would get like stuck on a
I don't
puzzle.
think any of us
No, none of us did
organically got to that.
I don't even know what that is.
The fact that you got it's like the website that you can like get to.
So you know the golden statues?
Yeah.
If you collect enough golden statues in that room, I think you can get to another area where there's like these weird symbols that kind of look like the runes but aren't quite the runes, and they respond to the inputs you give. Elsewhere, you get a hint that's something like sing backwards the song of the golden song or something, and you have to input the golden path backwards. Backwards and like mirrored or something like that. And then it gives you a URL you go to, and there's a website. I really didn't want Tunic to end.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think I used a little bit of help to get all the golden statues. And then once it was like, you're in this crazy room with all the symbols.
we were like, what the
I was
hell
like,
is this?
okay, I'll wait for the ARG bros to get
Yeah,
out of
I don't know
we
if there
looked-
was an ARG past that, is the thing.
Yeah, I think it is just the website plays a weird sound and you're like, oh, spooky.
Oh,
Yeah,
there's
it's
some
very
stuff
spooky.
hidden inside the spectrogram of this, but the stuff isn't anything.
Yeah.
The community's still digging into it, though, I think, a bit.
I think
But
they'll
don't
keep
know.
digging forever until there's another game that gives another hint.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's just a sequel hint or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a spooky website.
Spooky.
Tunic, great game, guys.
Great game.
Do not sleep on this.
Yeah.
Also, do not listen to this podcast.
What? I feel like we were sort of vague. Like,
I mean, I just gave the hint to the final puzzle in the game.
I mean,
Yeah,
but you won't
you
even
don't
understand,
know. Yeah,
like,
you don't-
half
you're
of,
not
like,
gonna
what's
get
being
it.
said.
That's true. Alright, what's your game two?
All right, my game
Is also
number
Tunic.
2 is Elden Ring.
Nice.
Woo! I don't know. We already talked about Elden Ring. It's boring now.
I'm over it.
To be honest, I want to talk more about the difference between my number 1 game and my number 2 game. Which, if you can guess, my number 1 game
Is it Tunic?
is Tunic.
Nice.
I loved Tunic, and I'm thinking like I compared those 2 games in my mind, and I'm like, I played Elden Ring way more. I loved Elden Ring. I had a wonderful time playing with people. I think it's such a dense, also broad game with doing a lot of great stuff with turning Dark Souls into an open world experience. But I just respect Tunic more.
Yeah.
I think that Tunic, it was a lot shorter, but I feel like the time I had playing it was great. But also just its design, it did a bunch of stuff that was just, it was different, it was unique, and it was also just engaging. It was a combat game and a puzzle game. It just I love that they put the manual right in the game as something that you discover. There's a magic to video game manuals, or at least an appeal of them. And Tunic made that part of its game. I just feel including the manual itself in the game is just a bold choice.
Yeah.
And I liked that part. I loved the witness type puzzles in it. I liked the combat. I liked that it was hard. I liked exploring the world that was full of secrets. I respect the game more than Elden Ring. Gotta respect the indies.
Yeah.
But
It feels like if anybody tried to put their manual in the game after this, it's like,
Oh, you're doing
Yeah.
Tunic.
I just don't see how anyone could do it better, though.
yeah,
Right.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, it's like, they did it. Done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They figured it out.
I mean, every page, even after you've gone it, still has so much that you don't realize is on the page
Mhm.
Yeah.
for later on. And it's just holy crap.
At
That's
first,
so
you're just like, oh, this is a cute conlang.
Yeah.
You fucking idiot fool.
Mm. And it's just seeing the pen markings and stuff and being like, oh, okay. It's a used manual, from a video game rental store.
Yeah.
My
You
video
get
game
over
is
that
haunted?
Nostalgia, and then you're like, but wait a minute. You're getting those paid. Just it just keeps doing the. Wait a minute! I just saw this earlier. and,
Yeah.
they just keep doing it where you saw something and it didn't
Yeah.
make sense to you because you just didn't know.
Yeah, it
that
happens
should-
10 times
Yeah.
over the course of the game, well before the line puzzles.
Yeah,
Mhm.
great game.
Yeah.
That was also my number 1. If I didn't already say that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, we're on to number 1. It's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Alex, do you?
What's your goatee?
My goatee's Elden Ring.
Yeah,
No,
I get it.
I freaking loved Elden Ring.
It's kind of the problem with listening to other people's Game of the Years. Like, across the internet, everybody, it's Elden Ring.
It's Elden Ring.
Everyone agrees. Elden Ring, Game of the Year, as a consensus.
I mean, it was like a pretty tough
Let's
choice
face
between
it.
it and Tunic. I mean, like, but I just feel like, yeah. I mean, there's like the personal attachment I have to Elden Ring, but there's obviously also the impact that it had on like the gaming industry as a whole, which I don't know. I feel like you can't quite discount that.
Mm-hmm.
It
was nice to see like Dark Souls, like the From Software, kind of go from being like when Dark Souls was first released, it was still like a niche like game no one heard about, and now like Elder Scrolls is kind of the same game as Dark Souls. Well, not exactly, but
Elder Scrolls.
I can't speak. Elden Ring is basically the same game as Dark Souls, but it's just like now it's like a huge international hit, and it
Yeah.
still sticks to its like very like rigid and like
Principled.
it's like it's not. It has no intention of being like accessible or like
Yeah.
going with the trends. It's like
it doesn't
I'm-
compromise.
it doesn't compromise its vision, and it, you know, back in like when Dark Souls came out, that was unique, and then now that same vision is like everyone loves this, and like we recognize that like doing things this way, with the friction that you know the FromSoft games add to them, like it's
I
It's
think
getting
Elden Ring is
recognition.
very accessible.
it is, yeah, it's definitely more accessible than Dark Souls. They've been
Right.
doing work, but it's nice to see that game and its principles getting recognized.
It's the
It
kind
doesn't
of the
give you an
opposite of a
easy mode.
dopamine ladder. It's like a grief ladder that gives you at the end of it the satisfaction of overcoming something.
It's truly only once George R.R. Martin got involved.
Yeah.
From Software hit their stride.
That's right. George R. R. Martin's impact.
Only
That's
when
the
George
guy.
R. R. Martin got
Strong.
involved did people outside of gamers consider
Yeah.
the content. Normal people love fingers, I guess.
Remember that guy who's a giant snake?
I'm fighting the giant snake guy right now.
That was fucking dope,
Yeah,
right?
It's
what's
a
that?
pretty dope fight. I'm stuck with like phase 2 right now.
Yeah, phase 2? What the fuck?
Wait,
Spoilers.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
He has like a head on the back of like the, I don't know. it's
I
like-
did get that spoiled for me by Cinematic on YouTube, I think. One of these days I'm going to beat Elden Ring so I can watch all the YouTubers whose content is like, how to beat Elden Ring doing ridiculous restrictions.
Yeah.
Someday.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think about like what I can say about Elden Ring that hasn't already been said.
We've talked about Elden Ring for probably like 30, 40 minutes now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greatest stages of Elden Ring. Yeah, it's nice to have a handcrafted world too, where it's like everything feels like it's been somewhat considered. Like you have your sort of empty spaces, but like you need the empty spaces to have just around the like dense like there's like a thing here.
That's the same sort of appeal as Grounded, where you're in a crafted world where there's like things to discover, even if the things are like a bucket of souls.
Nobody knows you're gonna come through here and you're gonna find this dope ass sword, and you're gonna be like, I'm gonna actually restart the game so I can make my guy use this sword.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then they nerf the
step
sword or
forward.
patch later, and you get
I'm
mad.
a little bit pissed about that. But for that 3 days, I was pretty sick.
All right,
All right,
Max.
I'm pretty curious what Max's number one is because we've already.
I think I have a good idea.
Yeah,
what
my
it is.
goatee's neon white.
Yep.
Oh, really? I forgot about that.
I was real close to putting it in 2 and Tunic in 1.
Yeah.
But I experienced all these games like off cycle, I guess, because I didn't have a good gaming PC till halfway through the year,
Yeah.
so I couldn't actually play them as part of those various zeitgeists.
Mhm.
And Neon White and Tunic both gave me the experience. They're both like very tight, very deliberate games, and they both gave me the experience of wanting more game from them, to the point that you're delving deeper into them. And they both reward that in different ways. Like Neon White with the like intrinsic reward of doing a thing faster and better, and like the achieving this flow state, and Tunic with the depth of the puzzles. And I think the final taste of like, oh, I hit this ARG, which doesn't really have anything behind it, versus the infinite ladder of speedrun progression, is part of that difference. Also, like, I still listen to the Neon White soundtrack pretty regularly. It's amazing. Yeah, and I just had, I don't know, like, the story in Neon White is very cringe, but I'm not playing the game for the story, and also the cringe is part of the appeal, I guess? I don't know. I just really like the game.
I respect, a lot of people were like, oh man, the writing's so cringe. But I kind of respect that it shows an aesthetic and was like, this is it.
You're
Like,
writing a visual novel. Lean into it.
Yeah.
I've also come around on Purple's levels. I hated Neon Purple's levels the first time I played through them. Because they felt too much like I Want to Be the Guy or like custom maps on Source Engine. And now I love them because they feel like I Want to Be the Guy
Yeah,
and
that's
custom
right.
maps on Source Engine.
That's right. Well, Elden Ring is a game I could take to a beach island.
That's
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah.
Mhm.
It would last me years.
Tunic would run out after a week,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right.
Mhm.
You could never play Tunic again.
but Elden Ring would last 2 weeks.
Elden Ring would last even longer, I feel
It lasts
like.
forever.
Yeah, it could last forever, like just experimenting with different builds, play styles.
Okay,
like-
now I'm going to beat the game using only left-handed dagger.
aesthetics, even just like, I don't know. I just want to try out different types of characters and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess we'll have to have another Elden Ring moment when the DLC comes out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is that enough?
I think it was announced.
It was
or-
announced, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we going to start from scratch, or are we going to prep characters in advance?
I have no idea.
I was gonna, before the DLC dropped, probably try to do a second playthrough.
The multiplayer mod also supports up to 6 people right now, which seems chaotic and awful, but kind of great.
Yeah, that does seem awesome.
What's your goatee?
Oh, I think we are. I mentioned it was Tunic.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so everyone's done at this point.
I think we're done. I think we actually gotta go soon.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Dude?
Get ramen.
Yeah, what time are we meeting?
Oh shit!
7?
6:40.
Holy shit!
Yeah, this has been a long podcast, fellas.
If you made it to the end, thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and remember, code Andrew30 on Andrew's box.
Andrew Bucks. Woo!
Good night.